Hey, this is Scott Snyder, and you're watching the Sci-Fi Center.
Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, we go to let pop culture lair.
Happy Sunday. Oof. Wow, it's been a wild week. Open topic. Last Sunday, we are literally at last hour and 20 minutes of May. We are in June. We are hit the halfway point of the year, and it's all down here from here. Wrapped up the amazing Las Vegas Comic Con this week, and I had a ball. I was not able to attend the third day because I thank you. Somebody just picked us up with a payment for. Let's see, we got Larry. Thank you, Larry, for your donation to the St. William Comic Con in style. That link is at the top, right there. So I got some new stuff. You can either do a watch long, like Clint's going to do his Howard the Duck watch long, but you can also. I'm going to give you an hour to host on your own. So what you'll do, I think I'll make that minimum donation about $100, $100, and then you'll get an hour. It'll be your topic. It'll be your guest, as long as it's not something that's going to destroy my fucking network, and my show. But if you want to, come out and talk about, and I will be there as your producer. So it'll be your hour. Your deal, I will be there as your producer and your censor if you go too crazy. We can't do, we can't do anything that's gonna get us copyrighted or get, But within certain realms, I know there's a lot of topics that you guys want to talk to, and then I'll be there to run StreamYard for you, and then you can bring on your guests and we can just have some fun with it. So there's a link. It is tied to the top of the chat. But one important thing I wanted to get to, because it looks like since last we spoke, we have had a donation to our American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and we are now $1,000 short of our goal of overall $28,000. And let me see who donated. Wow, this is a couple of days ago. I've been told. Thank you, Superman donated $248. That brings us to a grand total of. Let's go overview. Let's go dashboard. Let's go home. All right, so I'm going to bring this up on the screen real quick. By the way, I was right in the middle of watching the last episode of Euphoria, something I said I wasn't going to do because that show is completely fucked up. So here we are. Bring this up. I don't know if I'm going to have a co-host tonight. We didn't do a show last night because, quite honestly, we didn't have a lot going on, and I was still doing convention stuff. And I'm going to show you guys some pictures. There we are. There we are. For our goal to be 20,000, we are at $19,000 even. No spare change, no nothing. $9,500 per each campaign, evenly split across 2 campaigns. We are $1,000 away from reaching the goal of 20,000. Thank you for that last donation. Thank you to everybody who's gotten us up to this point. This campaign alone is raised $3,500. So there we go. Thank you very much, and thank you, Larry, for your contribution to so that I don't have to hang out in the alleyways and dig through the trash to get cutlery and then dig through another dumpster to get some food. You're hooking me up so that we can actually bring you, in all seriousness, what we're going to be doing this year. I've enjoyed the last 3 years of broadcasting from Comic-Con. I've gotten better with each show. This year, I really want to do something nice. I want to do something, and that means building a makeshift studio in a place where I'm staying to where we can do stuff. We can have a long, lengthy show. I'm getting one of those gyro cameras because remember last year I did the walk around downtown San Diego, which I thought was fun, but I was doing it with my phone. I don't want to do that this year. I want to be able to give you guys a professional shot, professional sound. I ordered new mics that have adjustments that you can, on the phones or on whatever, or on my pad, on my computer. I can do certain sound adjustments and drown out the background noise or certain things depending on where I'm broadcasting. So when I'm in, I almost said when I'm in a casino. No, that's not here. When I'm in the exhibit hall, it sounds a lot sharper. There's a lot of stuff I want to do. A lot of just an editing program I'm looking at getting. So that makes it a lot easier to edit when I'm not in front of a computer. So a lot of stuff goes on. So everything that we do is going into that, and just want to try to upgrade the situation. So every dollar goes to that. I'm not like buying jewelry or beer or anything with it. I'm literally putting it right back into the show. Yeah, I was hoping he wasn't going to show up tonight, but here he is. I'm just kidding. What's going on, Brad? We crept. We are 1,000 even away from this.
Oh, what's our latest donation?
It's from Superman.
Oh, he's known to be generous.
The quote that this person left was impressed. So let me say hi to the chat. I don't have. Yeah, I don't have much.
He said impressed.
Yeah, impressed. Like I'm impressed.
Oh, so that's a little bit.
This is actually 5 days ago. Sorry, donator. I did not see it. I've been really busy. So
we are officially better than Steppenwolf.
Here we go. So we're at 20,000. We'll get that before the end of this year. All right. So this weekend I was at Amazing Comic-Con. Jay and his brother put on an excellent show. I got pictures. I went as a fanboy this year because I am building back my collection, but mostly through stuff that is autographed. I like getting signatures. I like making that connection. And Scott Snyder, it has been for quite some time one of my favorite creators. But I also got to meet a lot of other people. I mean, Tom King again, the gentleman who wrote the 5-issue miniseries of Punisher that got Punisher his ongoing series. Stephen Grant was there. Got a chance to talk to him. Went to a Scott Snyder panel, but there wasn't a lot revealed at the panel. It was mostly just him answering questions and drinking a White Claw, which was hilarious. We're in the middle of this damn thing, and he's like, "Hey, there they come. I'd asked for them to bring me a couple of beers, but when I was at the signing booth, and they rolled in with some beers to this guy. And I'm like, we're a little legit city, and I'm like, this is Vegas. This is the only time I've ever seen the host of a panel pop open a beer, and then this interviewer, Jay, who ran the convention, had a beer with him. I'm like, this is hilarious. And I was in the front row. So thank you for Amazing Comic-Con for taking care of me, getting me that badge. Man, that badge saved my ass when it came to waiting in lines, getting in early, being able to get to the places I wanted to get to. Made a ton of connections. I probably made more connections at Las Vegas Comic-Con these past two days than I did at all of San Diego. And a lot of these guys are either local or they're really close within area, the tri-state area. So I've already made some connections there as far as merchandise expansion goes. So it was a successful weekend altogether. Hello, Clint. What's going on? Rational Skeptic, William Denny Villeneuve said he loved Star Wars until Return of the Jedi came out and had Ewoks. He said at that point it became comedy for kids. Yeah, I have heard him say that. I've had him. You got to be careful with them. The Star Wars fans will, you know how they get. But yeah, I mean, well, hey, and Denny, if you're watching, and who knows, you may be watching the show. I mean, listen, the Ewoks weren't kids comedy, dude. The Ewoks weren't kid comedy. Long before John Campea brought this up, I asked when I was a little kid, the fuck did they get that dress from? 10-year-old me turned to the old man and said, wait a minute, she was just wearing her rebel biker gear. And then when all these other people get here, she's dressed up in a dress. They just happened to have a dress around for someone who they were not expecting. No. Look at what they're wearing. Look at what they're fighting with. They have bones around their head, their necks, and they have skulls for helmets. That woman is dead. She was dinner. So Denny, they weren't kid comedy. They were cannibals. Let's think of it that way. So yeah, I did see that quote though. Chappie, what's going on, man? How you doing? Thank you, Larry, for your Larry donated to the send William to Comic-Con in style. For those of you who want to, it's in the and I've laid out what I'm giving away. We can do watch alongs, we can do, but I wanted to switch it up, and we don't have to watch a great movie or a bad movie. You can come on the show. I know a lot of you, have ideas. Maybe you're a YouTuber in the making. Hell knows, I was. I don't know where my YouTube bone got out, but yeah, we can do a whole bunch of different things, and there you go. And this is probably exactly how I'm going to look. Everything else around me is bullshit because it's AI, but that's my shirt. That's my badge. I will not wear a cape. I don't cosplay, and capes get caught indoors and people step on them. So I don't do the costuming thing. I enjoy watching people do it, but me personally, I'm not a cosplay. This is as cosplay as it gets for me, and that's ridiculous. So
I'm telling you, all you need just all you need is just the beard and the scepter. You're the wizard.
All right, let's see. Here's one more, so I can get the hour. Oh, okay. Did you just do another? Okay, cool. I'd love to do an hour. Your hour is going to be fun. that might be that's like a double bonus. Okay, thank you, Larry. Okay, I would do. When are you ready? That hour is going to fly by. I might. You know what? You get at least an hour. You get at least an hour. We might go a couple hours. So yeah, Larry, when you're ready. Let me know, because I know you're in a different time zone. Let's get together, and what do you want to talk about? I know you got a lot of causes and stuff, but I know we could shit. 1 hour is just gonna be music. What else is out there? So thank you, Larry. See, Larry is making it so that I don't have to pack ramen in my bag to the plane. Larry is making it so that I don't have to get a Ziploc for Kool-Aid and then find a sprinkler system or an exterior hose. I know when we were kids, and make and put it in the bag. Larry is making it so I don't have to sleep on the side, even though it's going to be 75 degrees in San Diego when I get there. And sleeping on the beach ain't that bad, but you know what? The cops mess with you and they hassle you. And then there's seagulls. Who wants to be attacked by seagulls? So Larry's making it happen. Thank you, Larry. It's going to be fun. Listen. I am terrified of some of the people who may take advantage of this. There are some people in our chat that I wake up in a cold sweat thinking, oh, shit, I got 100 from them. Oh, fuck. This might be the end of the channel. Larry's not one of those people. So, all right, cool, Larry. This is going to be fun. Clint is clearly affected by the altitude. Hello, Omega Swiper.
Rational says, happy 96th birthday to Clint Eastwood. Wasn't worth his birthday.
That old? I didn't think he aged anymore. It's like a fucking force of nature.
Yeah. Ooh, William, I was concerned with you. Glad you're good.
Why were you concerned? Elaborate. So no. 19 is your lucky number. Okay. Yeah. I am only halfway through.
Yeah, he's 96 as of today.
Yeah. This show is just, you gotta watch. I gotta watch something afterwards. I reluctantly got back into the show because it's a quality show, but it's just awful things happening. And this season is worse than any of them. I'm sorry. This season, as far as awful things happening to people, is surpassed the first two seasons combined. So, all right, Chappie Wood, did you ask a question and not finish it? Okay, you started a question and didn't finish. Okay, what is the beginning of your question? All right. Microwave Robin. Yeah. Listen, Microwave Robin, if it's not microwavable, it's not edible. Potatoes, eggs, steak, doesn't matter. If you can't burn it from within, it's not worth putting in your body. Hello, Koala. How are you doing? I did watch. I'm not even. I was looking for topics to put together a proper show today, and I was thinking about Clash and what is it, Ireland or whatever the fuck. For those of you who are in the know when it comes to WWE and wrestling, the bloodline has literally crossed over 2 presidential administrations. And it's time for it to be over with. All right. William likes the show long to me. What the hell? I'm squeezing that. Hello, it's Tekka. What's going on? Going to see a scary movie at the Chinese theater. They're going to show that? Oh, well, yeah. It's
going to show that piece of shit.
It's projected to make.
I swear, if you guys make that number 1 this weekend.
There's nothing out there. What's out there?
He-Man is the other. Bad and He-Man are opening this weekend.
I think they're going to come close. I think He-Man's going to have longer legs, though. I think He-Man's nostalgia. Listen, dude, whether you like him or not, those movies, guys, you don't have to. If you make this,
well, these guys are insisting I do because Clint donated enough.
Yeah.
I swear, if you guys
you're closeted anyway. You want to?
I swear, if you guys make I don't want to go see it. I don't want to see the. It's like I got
projecting
time on this earth. If you guys make that bullshit number 1 opening weekend, it's like I'm going to come back on.
That's not good news for He-Man if it does. So, by the way, that He-Man should be number 1 given the generation that go see it. Just
anything else opening that way, anything that comes out the same week, it should be number 1.
Nah, and all these other, you got the small rooms, back rooms.
Howard the Duck 2 should be number 1.
Nah, Howard the Duck should be no Howard the Duck 2. But yeah, one of the things that guys, I keep saying it on any feed that I'm on, that Hollywood is, the big franchises are dead because of obsession and back rooms and all that. And my response to that is get the fuck out of here with that. I am happy and congratulations to those movies who made, big profits on shoestring budget.
Well, that is, I guess that is the topic we want to get into tonight because that is making the rounds.
Here's the thing. Tell me that you have bullshit in between your ears without telling me you have bullshit in between your ears. It's great. It's great that these movies spent Lent and made a lot of money. That's wonderful for all involved. Hell, that's even wonderful for Hollywood. But that ain't sustaining jack shit. The amount and the volume of those that you would have to do is not even worth the work at that point. Because you would do the math. You would have to make so many of those. Yeah, it's profitable, but there's profitability. And I've said this before. There's a huge difference between profitability and volume. They are not always the same. Making that money faster sometimes is worth spending more to get it. Because you're talking about sustaining an entire infrastructure when you're talking about a studio or something like that. And even a movie like The Fast and the Furious, the one that they spent $300 million on, one of those made $1.2 billion. So they're, even with everybody getting paid out, there's more profit in those than like at least 3 or 4. So for every one of those, you would have to make a bunch of these, and you'd have to worry about the niche audience and things like that. So no, it is part of it. These indie films, and Blumhouse literally built a studio based on that concept. But Blumhouse is also in association with Universal, who they need blockbusters. The entire infrastructure in the supply chain of movie making can't exist on what some of these movies are making. It's just not enough to go around, and there's not enough of them. and there's not enough audience that would make that, even Sinners. I love Sinners. Sinners was the best movie of 2025. But Sinners, you look at Sinners' profit margin versus a big tentpole, it's just not the same, guys. I want Sinners.
Budget was 90 to 100, box office 370.
Okay. Now, when you're talking about a blockbuster, even when we're talking about one that flopped, everybody says Superman didn't flop, but a 600 million, that's out of 185 million that they spent on it, that volume is still there, and plus that big blockbuster goes on to do things after it hits the theater. But you want them all, though. There's not Hollywood is cooked because this is how you make money now, and this is where. But shut up. It is part of it. Movies like The Back Rooms, movies like Obsession, movies like anything Blumhouse. It is part of it. It is part of it. But you look at tickets sold versus in traffic and everything else that a movie like a Spider-Man or a Star Wars. Where's Grogu in?
Because that's unfortunately it's not on the higher end of like Star Wars business. I'd say that somebody.
No, but because I can't make any money off of the past Star Wars.
Well, like right now. Okay, so the budget's 165. Right now, it's sitting at 246.6.
Globally or domestically?
That's globally.
Okay, so globally, you got 150. That one, but that one. Okay, that's probably a bad example because that's a streaming show. I still think a lot of people.
Well, what's a good example this year of something that's like a tent pole that would kind of fall in the way
you're describing? Yeah, you got to listen funny. I'm pretty just pull one out and you'll see the math there.
I'll just look up 2026 in film this year on Wikipedia for like what's kind of like
the. What did I see? I can't even remember the movies I saw. But yeah, I'm not going to see a scary movie, a Chinese.
Project Hail Mary actually might be a good example.
Okay, Mine was a good example.
Yeah,
that movie, that was a pretty pricey movie.
Yeah, that was Project Hail Mary. Now this is interesting because budget is gross 248, net 200. So probably that's like okay, we spent 248, but then we get back like part of that from tax rebates.
Why does it show you? What are you looking at? There's a simpler one.
The Wikipedia page.
That's the Wikipedia one. Hold on.
Yeah, but then the box office for that was 677.3.
Okay, so they spent Okay, so
they spent at least 200 million on that.
Okay, so 200 million, and how much is a
677.3.
Okay, so a movie like that, and then it's going to get re-released because that's going to go up for an Oscar. So you're going to add more to that. You need both of these. You need the profitability of the smaller ones, but you also need the volume of the bigger ones. It works in tandem. There is this is the way. There's no way in hell we're going to stop making blockbusters and start making these shoot-box movies. It's not going to happen, guys.
Well, another good example. I mean, this isn't as expensive, but like the current biggest earner this year is Super Mario Galaxy. That budget on that is 110. Box office it's 3D animation, so it's
that's a low budget, dude.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like animated movies like in the 90s.
How much did it make?
992 is where it's at. So it's gonna. I mean, 8 million it's gonna hit $1 billion definitely.
Yeah. So, but that's not to discourage these smaller budget. But when I hear this every time a little train that does good, that this is the way, that this is the dominating trend. No, it's not. It's part of it all.
Well, I mean, I also hear that. I mean, not to bring it all back to like one particular director we like on here, but I mean that's something I heard like thrown around constantly is that the profit margin of Shazam was better than Man of Steel, or like, and that's part of that's like, well, yeah, because you can get a Shazam movie for a lot cheaper than a Superman movie, and like you're saying, it's like, I mean, if you do nothing but Shazam level CBMs, it's like that's not a strong enough foundation to build though this house that you're trying to. It's like you need like the heavy hitters too, which those cost more to make.
It's like if I'm behind the counter and I have a sale and I'm selling comics. I sell a comic for $5, and so it's 50%. So every 50% away, I'm making a $250. That's great. That's not gonna keep anything on.
But by the way, that's horse shit. That specific example, Man of Steel and Shazam, because you look into the financials, Man of Steel actually.
Man of Steel had that stuff added on too, like project
Yeah.
placement. But if I sell a key issue or something for 100 or two, if I sell 3 or 4 of those, I need those little sales. I need it all, but I'm not going to sustain myself on those.
Well, yeah, because
I need
if
to
you
make
add
up the time.
yeah, like if you add up the volume of like the cheaper of all the cheaper ones, like you add all that together, the revenue from that, it's like it's not going to equal like the revenue from like all the cumulative revenue of the bigger stuff. So it's like
Yeah, you need it all. So Tuesday, I'm going to do a Tuesday, and I might do 2 episodes on Tuesday. Dante.
Yeah, I like the show, yeah. But yeah, let me look at some other examples here too of like bigger ones that did really. Oh, Michael, that's actually probably a good example.
Where's that at? I know. I just assumed that was going to make it.
That the budget was 155 to 200, box office
What the fuck did you
840.
spend it on? Wow.
Yeah, well, it's the Jackson Estate, so it's they got their fees.
I mean, okay, it had to be their fees.
I mean, and box office 846.3.
Wow, already.
Yeah.
When did that come out? Damn.
That came out towards the end of April. Yeah, it came out.
And that just easily made it.
Yeah. Actually, I'm surprised it didn't get to. I'm surprised it didn't get to $1 billion by this point. I was thinking that was a pretty good contender for. I mean, it's not, that doesn't make it a disappointment by any means, but it's so that was one
But
I
it's
thought
still
was
because it's still going to end up being the highest. I might be because I know it was Bohemian Rhapsody was the highest grossing.
one. I mean, they've already greenlit Michael 2. So
yeah, well, wasn't it always going to be?
Well, that's a unique
phases of his
situation
career?
because they had to retool the ending because of there's
Yeah,
because of legal issues. It's wherever you stand on that side of Michael Jackson's life.
Yeah, we're not getting into that.
Well, they had to take that out because they filmed it, and then they didn't realize the Jackson State. They consulted with them later and said, "Oh, again, wherever you stand on the veracity of that, legally they cannot portray that."
Yeah, there's agreements. There are agreements in place.
So they had to take that out and rework the ending, which probably drove the budget up a bit. But then from that, they decided, okay, we're just gonna we're gonna see how this one does, and then potentially split this into 2 movies. And now they're definitely gonna make the second one out of it.
Yeah, I thought they had already. I thought that was part of the deal. But Obsession getting removed off of Universal's digital release, and I get
I
you
shot
messaged me about that, and then somebody else said, "This is the way they should do it. This is theaters are back. The streaming bubble is no." This is what I had said from day one, guys. There should be no blanket 45. I'm all for 30. There should be no blanket rule to keep a movie in a cinema any longer than it should be there. Just because somebody has some romantic nostalgia view of the theaters being the primary moneymaker for everybody. It should be on a case-by-case basis. Great. Obsession's not going on PVOD, where a lot of people are going to see it.
Well, and that's a real anomaly on that, because that's actually we should go ahead and talk about that now, because that's actually been out for 2 weeks now, and weekend 2, weekend 3, it's gone up each week, which that's it's unusual enough just when it does, like when a movie that's so popular, it goes up on like one weekend.
You get one of those out of every 35 or 40 movies ever made. Literally.
Exactly. And for it to do it 2 weeks, it's getting comparisons to Jaws and E.T. now for like that kind of staying power, which again, you don't see that happen. We're like 2 weeks. Who knows if it's going to, it might pull that off on weekend 4.
Just because one movie does something, that's not a trend. And people should never think, that the theaters are coming back because of Obsession. You're going to have to look. There are going to be certain.
Also, did they leave? That's the question you have to ask: is did they really leave?
You have to look at every single situation on its own merit and on its own circumstances. If there's a movie out there that you don't think it has the kind of legs, why are you going to keep it in the theater for you? If you're a studio that needs that screen space for your incoming movie, and you don't want to diminish the new movie where most of the movies are going to make their money in the first 2.5, 3 weeks, why would you pigeonhole yourself into keeping a movie on one of your screens that you need for more time than it's not? Which,
by the way, that's we're kind of seeing that play out now that Mandalorian and Grogu is it's having its IMAX screen count that is getting downsized now because Masters of the Universe is coming out, and that's going to be kind of shifting into that real estate. Which that's also, let me take a look at this real quick. Yeah, so the budget on that 170 to 200. So now So where do you how do you think that's going to do? Like Masters of the Universe is it because like because we talked about that. I'm as somebody who's been like agnostic on the He-Man franchise most of my life. It's like I'm actually getting pretty excited for this movie.
I actually think it could. I don't know what its expectations are, but I think it could get into the 6s and the 7s. There's a possibility.
Which that's I mean if that's what you spend and that's what you pull in, then that qualifies as a hit. I would I think most people would say
because you'll have people lying about what they think the advertising budget is. We're not going to know about that because I know we're not getting screenings out here, so I don't know how much they spent on it. But,
and by the way, it's also Amazon, which they've got just like got a bottomless pit of money. So it's like it's even if they even if they end up taking a loss, it's like it's not going to be any skin off their nose.
Good point that you bring that up because that's another reason why the box office isn't going to be a big thing because Amazon, they're putting it out in their theater. But Amazon exists to get you to click on the shit that's on their site. So even if Superman, even if He-Man doesn't make a shit ton of money, which I think it's going to, on the big screen, that's not where Amazon makes their money. Amazon can't wait to get this on their screen. So I gotta go into Amazon and log into Amazon, and now they got me on there, and they know they're gonna send me emails and shit and deals and all that. Oh, you like He-Man? Hey, look at this Hasbro. Oh, look at this He-Man omnibus. Look at this. Oh, wow, you probably watch Thundercats too. Oh, well, look, miraculously, we just sent you a fucking pop-up with Thunder. That's where they make their money, and it's an ingenious plan. So them making whatever amount of money on the big screen, great. They want you on Amazon. They want you on that site ordering everything. So
the other side of this I've seen kind of commented on a lot. This by the way, how's it going, Bill? As long as the Gen X elder millennials are there for Masters of the Universe. Yeah, so I'm like just like kind of on like the I kind of
actually some of the lower ones because if you're how old is a millennial now? Aren't you a millennial?
Yeah, I'm a millennial, and I think
okay, you're basically 40.
Yep.
So you're old enough to have a 10-year-old kid, possibly, right? So we're talking.
Yeah, good, yeah.
So what? So
I don't, but I
what's
could.
The generation after you?
Is Gen X or Gen? Is it
Gen Y
Z?
or
Gen Z.
Okay. So you got Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z literally old enough to enjoy this movie together. Yeah. So I'm telling you, this is a not hidden, but it could be a sleeper hit. And it's goofy and over the top, like the Gen Xers remember it. Because a lot of people got away from He-Man and Masters of the Universe when it tried to explain shit that nobody fucking wanted to know. Sorry. I know a lot of people like the 2000 series. I know a lot of people like the Kevin Smith. I know that's great. But these 80s things, these Filmation and these Sunco and all these, Sunbow and all these ones that happened in the 80s, they're at their best when people weren't trying to explain what the fuck was going on.
By the way, also, kind of related, the director Travis Knight, he's kind of played the sandbox before because specifically because he was director of Bumblebee back in 2018, which that was kind of on the lower end success wise of Transformers, but still did pretty good. It's like look at this, the budget was 102, 135, box office 468. So it definitely, they definitely made money off of that. But and it was, it was. I mean, I really like Bumblebee a lot. So yeah, it was likened to. I remember I was liking a lot, kind of like E.T. meets Iron Giant, and so he's played in this like 80s toy nostalgia sandbox before, and that's we'll see how that kind of plays out in the universe. But again, I'm somebody who, it's one of those things where like you look back on. I've been doing this a lot in the last couple of years, where I look back on like certain properties I kind of have gotten into belatedly, where I look at it and say like I really should have been into that a lot earlier. Like Avatar is a good example. I got Aaron into Avatar. I got into Avatar, a few years after the show ended, like right when Legend of Korra was kind of wrapping up. I should have been into that from day one, and I think He-Man kind of falls into that category where it's like I was, as a little kid, my gateway into everything I'm into really was action figures, and that's He-Man's, it's foundation.
Well,
so
but there wasn't okay. It was that, but it was a culture in the 80s. Like Avatar, it wasn't a culture like He-Man, G.I. Joe, Thundercats. But there was a culture that was part of that. That was what when you had cartoons 7 days a week, or pretty much every day but Sunday. You had She-Ra, you had GI Joe, you had Rambo, you had all these shows that they started their after school. So when you came home from school, 4 o'clock, these things were on, and then you had your last years of Saturday morning cartoon. So there was a culture in the '80s that the Gen Xer is if the Gen Xer is successful, he is going to be able to convey that culture on to the millennial and the Z. And if the Gen Xer is excited about it, like I said, I got excited about things that my dad was excited about. That's how I got into Star Trek. That's how I got into a lot of the stuff I got in. So a lot of times, especially if it's fathers and sons, you go along in the footsteps of your dad. So I think you're not only, if you hit it with the Gen Xers, you're going to hit it with the millennials, and then their kids. It could be a night after movie. So you just conquered 3 demographics. So maybe He-Man bombs because it's too cheesy, but maybe He-Man excels because it's cheesy. Question: What was
good?
what was the reason why Agent Phil Coulson didn't show up on Iron Man funerals Endgame, despite him being alive? For all we know, he could have been there, and they just decided not to put him on screen. It's that simple. It's that they panned. Remember,
I never even thought about that.
Not everybody. Yeah, not everybody that was at the funeral was probably seen. You'll probably have a storyline that or something you see in these next movies. But I remember being at the funeral. Or they'll have a scene with somebody you didn't know was at the funeral, but it's from their POV.
Because they went out of their way at that funeral. I mean, they panned over everybody. They had Captain Marvel, and she just had a movie like 6 weeks prior. So
yeah,
Coulson, I mean, Tony was like, he literally made that in the final battle of Avengers. It's like he pissed off one other guy. His name was Phil. So he made that. They made going into the final battle with Loki. It's like it was personal for them because their connection to Coulson. So
yeah, because he died in the thing. But
if you're not at Tony's funeral, dude, what the hell are you doing?
But there's nothing saying that he was or that he didn't get cut out. But there's no reason for him not to be there. But we went. I mean, it's the first time I've gotten that question. And that movie came out in 2019. Yeah. So, yeah, that tells you the level of importance. That they're probably thinking the same thing. Nobody's going to miss him there, which is, there you go.
I mean, it's panning over, like, I think Nick Fury is the only, like, non-Avenger. And even then, it's like he's the one who brings the team together. So it's like you can kind of, he's the facilitator of it. So it's like everybody's, I don't know. Do you think that bar is it like, was that shot meant to be like strictly Avengers only, or
probably people who were relevant to the immediate storyline? People who were relevant, because to be honest with you, I wasn't thinking about Phil Coulson when I was sitting in there. Which one do you think is the more important film that kicked off the slasher genre? Black Christmas or Halloween? Definitely Halloween.
I go back further. I'd say Psycho. I'd say Psycho is the genesis of the slasher movies.
That's a tough one because there's only one person that gets slashed.
No, there's two. It's Marion Crane and there's Arbogast.
Okay, I'm gonna say Halloween. I'm gonna say Halloween because the slasher genre was heavily more influenced by the Italians than it was Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock made it, but that wasn't technically, yeah, but spiritually, no. You look at what the Italians are doing and the Spaniards are doing in the late '60s, what Dario Argento was doing, what Fulci was doing with their type of movies. Then you look at what we call the slasher. I would say Halloween, but you could make just a strong argument for Black Christmas. No, Black Christmas. No, we were already. I think we were already knee deep in the slasher genre by the time Black Christmas got.
Well, since Avatar season 2, then on Netflix. Damn right. Glad to see another Avatar fan here with me and Aaron.
Who cares?
She also says I was never into Master of Jared Leto Skeletor. It's calling my name. Yeah, it's interesting because like he's Skeletor, but it's like, again, you could put anybody behind that Skeletor look, and it's like we never know the difference. So I'm wondering like how much kind of like his performance really comes, especially with like his notorious is for his method acting, and it's like this. It's like, I mean, how do you method act like turning into a skeleton? I don't know.
There's a lot of things Jared Leto can do to make it. You don't need to see his face.
And apparently he's getting fairly good reactions to his performance, and in this, so that's interesting. It's like
He's a top tier actor. I don't know why people ever doubt him.
Well, he is kind of a weirdo too. So I mean,
well, there's most top tier actors are.
He's. I like his Joker. I like his Joker. And I even
Neander Wallace. Look at Blade Runner 2049.
I liked also. I thought. I mean, it bombed like hell, but I mean, I did enjoy Tron Ares last year.
That movie failing wasn't fault. That movie failed when they said let's do a Tron Ares.
Well, apparently it's like it kind of rebounded when it got on home video and streaming, and maybe this is like, I mean, Tron is kind of like
it's like somebody yelling my number at bingo after I fucking left the bingo.
Well, I mean, Tron is kind of like, it's a little bit like Highlander. It's kind of like, it's kind of counterintuitive that the franchise like has sequels because the whole franchise, they've never like been like box office smash hits. So
yeah, but Tron didn't have Queen carrying it. I mean, so Clash in Italy sucked. Yeah, it wasn't. It was just like another Raw. I mean, they flew all that way just to give me another Raw.
Bell's on our roll tonight. Almost 4-year-old's got 20. Yeah, I don't have any kids. I have a 13-year-old nephew, 13 in July.
Well, she's a millennial. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, she's got, you know.
How old are you? You're not much older than me, probably. Are you though?
I think she just turned 40.
Oh, you're like, I mean, yeah, they're like a year older than me.
So she's, I mean, so if you know, and that's the kind of thing that happened with Barbie. You had grandmothers going together with their daughters and their granddaughters going to see Barbie.
And she also says, "My son knows who." Well, there you go. I mean, case in point. But like, that's another interesting one too, because as apparently Masters of the Universe is, they've been trying to get one off the ground for quite a while, and I think I read like the success of Barbie has kind of like, maybe not like it wasn't like the main thing that got this one rolling, but I mean, again, it did kind of it sort of moved the needle in the sense that, okay, like these 80s toy line adaptations, like we could have a pot of gold on this, and He-Man, was that Mattel too? Is He-Man also Mattel?
I think, isn't He-Man Hasbro?
Yeah, it's probably Hasbro. I'm thinking, yeah.
I could look. I mean, I just took for granted that I would always know.
Why isn't there? I mean, not that I'm the target audience, but why isn't there been like a Barbie 2 yet? Because that did crazy good numbers.
Everybody involved is doing other things. It's gonna be a while. It's not about the numbers. It's about Greta Gerwig being super backed up and busy, and then you have
but isn't this the kind of thing they lock you into a contract before you greenlight it?
Who's the they? She's a producer and executive producer, but that's not who locks them into a contract though. If she says no, there's nothing you can do because
again, I'm not saying this, I'm not saying this like I'm somebody who's like waiting with. I'm not the audience for Barbie, so I'm not like waiting with bated breath. But I'm just gonna like, yeah. I mean, you would think there'd be more urgency on that.
Yeah, no. I mean, because it's Mattel. You're right. It was Mattel.
It was Mattel than He-Man. Okay.
Yeah, but not really, because Margot Robbie is in demand and she's direct. She does her own shit and she's got other things going on. Greta Gerwig is huge, and she's working on something. Isn't she doing Narnia, wrapping up Narnia? And that took a while.
Something like that. I mean,
she's doing. I mean, it sucks that they can't be in 5 different places at one time, but and a lot of times, you know what, the people who do the creatives on this decide that
good.
That decide that they don't have the right story yet. I mean, Tom Cruise took 40 fucking years to get.
That's also why. I mean, like a lot of times when you get sequels, like even if there's like especially ones when they have like a 7-year gap or something, that's why they'll like greenlight 2, but then do them back to back, because then it's like, okay, then we can just like knock this all out at once, and then we can clear everybody's schedules, and then we got 2 under our belt, and then everybody goes back and does their own thing, and while we wrap this up in post-production. So again, all that, I'm not saying this like somebody who's like, again, I am clearly not the target demographic of Barbie, but I just always when you get that big a hit, usually you hear about like, okay, Monday morning, like Barbie 2 greenlit.
Nah, not the creatives don't think that way. They know whenever they do and plus if she's making movies for Warner Brothers. I mean, it's scheduling. I mean, you just can't do everything at once. When they get it done, or when they do it again, maybe it'll make another $1 billion or not. Maybe it'll be a Joker. Who knows? But you also have to have the right. Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Talk about like base planting.
You have to have the right
monster hit on the first one, and then you got the Brain Records. I could barely even remember Joker 2 already. I only saw that the one time. That one really just came and went.
I watched the movie Obsession. I thought it was a messed up movie, and I've been seeing a lot of people obsessed with.
Yeah. I mean, that's the impression to come away with. Is
sounds like it does sound like Wishmaster. Would you make a wish? I'm just skipping through these.
I mean, again, it's like snap a little twig, you get one. Yeah, there's scenes, and again, we're not gonna get to do a watch party of that for a longer time on here now because it's killing it so much theatrically. So probably, I mean, I'm sure by Halloween it'll be.
Which, by the way, I don't know if that's the best idea, but it's their decision. That's the kind of movie you put on streaming. That's the kind of movie you put on streaming. It's gonna, it's especially now. Especially, you've made this amount of money, but it's increased, but you should have it on streaming. And then the people who are going to want to go see this in the theater are going to go see this. I mean, they've done that plenty of times, Universal, where they've had a movie playing in the theaters and on streaming. Do I feel like paying $5.25 a gallon if I'm a family of four to go to a theater right now? And who knows if I'm going to be able to afford it when you finally.
That's also like a kind of an extenuating element specifically is kind of an extenuating circumstance.
Yeah, but it is extenuating, but it is present time, unfortunately. Oh, what are you driving? Are you driving to Vegas?
She also says Wishmasters can't. Yeah, it is. It's really camping. I've never been like the least bit frightened by the Wishmaster movies. They are really, really silly.
Because they don't want to acknowledge TV. That could be another thing, is that even though Coulson was in the Avengers movies, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you see how they treated that.
Again, it clearly had an audience in the last 7 seasons.
Yeah, but what did it have a cinematic audience that they thought?
What was it? It was on ABC, I think it was.
On ABC.
Which
is a Disney-owned network, so they're answering to themselves.
I mean, I dropped off pretty quick on Agents. I checked out the first couple episodes, and it just didn't hook me. So.
Yeah, I gave up about half season.
Mostly with like Marvel TV, or I should say MCU TV. It's like if it's the ones that I follow, I stuck with. It's stuff that either originated on Netflix. It was the Netflix stuff. So, and that's now.
I didn't start becoming a Netflix a television show because, be honest with you, most of Netflix stuff sucks. Especially in the mid 2010s. You had some gems, you had some Stranger Things, but you had some absolute fucking garbage that they just put out there because they needed volume. And I think at that point, Netflix did not have the reputation of for that to the point where they could build these ginormous audiences like a Disney Plus could. It was just a different time. But yeah, when it comes to why they weren't there at the funeral, they weren't relevant to be there. I mean, the fact that I didn't even get that question until 8 years after that movie he was out probably tells you that's your answer right there. Hey, we got to acknowledge these YouTubers. We did, but I don't want to go overboard. I don't want to go overboard.
I do think that is as far as like, again, like talking about the performance of Obsession and Backrooms. By the way, I think Belle said she also enjoyed. She didn't want to hear about I can't find it, but I think she said that she saw Backrooms, and which I did too, also on Friday night, and that's another really.
She said she liked it.
It's a real mind fuck. It is really, it's creepy. But
I acknowledge you, Sona, but like I said, you also have to acknowledge the math. It's a great little win. It's not the direction of Hollywood.
Well, I think the encouraging thing about it is the idea that YouTube is the fact that it can be that this kind of exemplifies the idea of YouTube as kind of like a platform to launch like filmmakers who can like turn out these big hits like that, where like you could start with like something like a proof of concept or something on YouTube, and then you can extrapolate that into something bigger, and then you can then they are actually in the big leagues now, and they can work with these bigger budget things. It's like that kind of 1-2 punch of Obsession and Backrooms, like exemplifying that. I think that's like probably that's an encouraging thing. That's something that should be applauded and seen.
It doesn't need applause. They made the money. See, I generally it's like if I'm watching a baseball team I don't give a fuck about the AAA guy until he reaches the major leagues. Now you're in the conversation by being, on a major screen. I don't care where you came from, to be honest with you. As a consumer, don't care. Just if the movie's good, I care. If the movie sucks, I don't care. That's where I boil it down to. And I don't think it's healthy to embrace any type of pathway or trend, because those pathways and trends are unique to the people doing it. Some schlep is not going to be able to do what another guy did on YouTube. Just like anything else in life, you have different degrees and individual things that are going for you. That no matter what platform you are, you could have all the money in the world, and if you're not a great director, you're going to make a shitty movie. And you could have no money in the world if you don't have, if you don't make a great movie, you're going to have you're going to have the same response. I don't care as much where the movie comes from. I care about the end result, because that's what I see as a viewer. I'm not sitting at your accounting meeting. I'm not on your GoFundMe account. I'm probably not even on your YouTube page. I care about you when you get to the big leagues, when you're in a Major League Baseball stadium. How you got there, great. That's a story for your documentary somewhere down the road. The end product that I care about is what makes it to me. That's it. And is that good or not? To me, I don't care where Obsession how it came to be. I just care whether it's good when I finally sit down and watch it. Because I grew up in an era where fucking Orion and Carolco and all those other guys made movies for $8 a pop and flushed them out there. I mean, and then some of them were good, some of them weren't. Then I would have multi-billion-dollar movie or multi-million-dollar movies that would have big budgets, and they would suck. So I care about the end product. I just generally don't care how it got there as much. That's for the special features section that I just generally don't watch unless it's Blade Runner. So no. Great, a YouTuber creating numbers with movies. To me, I call myself the end user. It's not going to have any bearing on, now you're up here with these big movies. Does your movie hold up against a movie that belongs at that level? That's all I care about. As for Dog, so amazing film. One of my least favorite Tarantino movies. That opening segment just takes me out of it. Just that opening segment is like, fuck. What is there anything else I got to do? Half and half. I'm gonna make. I love superhero movies, but I love horror movies too. So.
Well, we got one like that. It was called The New Mutants. I think that's the first example I could think of like somebody trying to do like either DC or Marvel doing a horror movie with it. And to an extent, I think you could say like the Swamp Thing series on DC Universe that kind of falls under horror as well. He also, had James Wan on that. He put some of his, like with the trench sequence, he put some of his horror pedigree into Aquaman, and but yeah, it's like there's no need to. This is the other thing too. I want to ask. It's actually before I do. It's like Del Rev talking. I think he's just kind of going off of what we were saying about YouTubers turn filmmakers. You're talking about Tommy. What's up? he.
Well, here's the thing though. That's a good point though. That's a good point. And forget about the joke about it, right? How he got to where his movie reached me, I don't give a fuck. The movie sucked.
No, but it's a hell of a story.
That I don't care about. All right, how you got there really doesn't interest me, because that's not what I paid to see. I'm paying to see the finished product. How good is your finished product? That's what I care about. And now all the stuff that you did behind the scenes to get there, that might be something I on the interview when you're on, when you're on an interview or YouTube somewhere, or you're at Comic-Con explaining that, that's when I give a shit about that. But when it's determining the quality of the movie or whether a movie belongs or not, it's gonna be the quality of the movie. And I think we get caught up in these trends like they mean anything. These trends mean nothing. All that happened with a YouTuber doing this and a person doing this for $10, all that. That is a great story, but it is a meaningless trend because it means nothing in regards to the very next movie. All these movies are going to be made under the circumstances they need to be made under. That's it. That's the only trend you have going, right now.
But anyway, I was going to ask a minute ago about this the other kind of offshoot bit of commentary about Obsession and Backrooms breaking out so much is again the fact that neither of them are based on like pre-existing properties. They're not based on a comic or a novel or a video game or anything. So the idea is that okay, they're these are huge hits. We don't need the IP stuff anymore.
That's stupid. See that's the you can celebrate this small potato stuff and then success. That is wonderful. We need that. We need that in the chain. We need that as far in the bloodstream. We need these movies. But when people say that kind of stuff, that's just, what are you talking about? Because guess what? All the movies that are going to carry Hollywood and pay people who are working at the theaters and the people who are working on special, all the money that's going to be made for the most part is coming from movies that have like damn 4 or 5 sequels minimum. We're getting a Dune 3. That's going to make a lot of money. We're getting an Avengers Doomsday movie. That's going to make a ton of money. We're getting a Spider-Man, another Spider-Man movie. That's going to make those movies are going to be the ones that generate the traffic and the money, so all this other stuff can happen. So yeah, when I hear that, it's like, celebrate this stuff, celebrate Backroom, celebrate, but under no circumstances is that the way. Any more than 100% blockbusters is the way. You need variety out there. You need several different ways to generate money. But you guess what? If you held a gun to Hollywood's heads and said Backrooms or Spider-Man Brand New Day, you don't even need the gun. You can put the gun down. That's an easy decision. But you don't have to do that. You can have these small movies. You can have these independent movies, but you just need to understand math is still a thing. Volume is still a thing. You know, how many feet, how much traffic does a blockbuster bring to a theater to keep it going when they don't make that much off the ticket to begin with? But those popcorn buckets, those all that food, all that high markup stuff, all the stuff that they sell you in a theater, now they're selling toys and then merchandising lines even outside the theater. People get paid on this. Livelihoods depend on this. All right, you're gonna have a Backrooms popcorn bucket. I'm pretty sure they'll try probably one out there. But how much is it gonna sell?
Make one an obsession, just shape it like a brick.
Yeah, and it will sell about a quarter, if not, in fact, not even a quarter, 1% of what a fucking crypto one will do. You see what I mean? Don't stop doing this other thing, but don't be so silly enough to think that it's better than this or this is better than that. You need them all. You need them all. You have to give a reason for people who are not in the big tent pole stuff to come to the movies, but at the same time, that familiar dollar pays a lot more bills than anything else. People say, "Oh, I'm tired of the big franchise movies." Guess what? I guarantee you're probably looking at $2 billion hits with the 2 Marvel movies coming out or close to it. And Dune is on its 3rd movie. That's a franchise. You think it's going to suffer at the box office? No. And the volume that they bring in, it's not just about the money as well. It's like it's the traffic that it generates towards all these things that you can sell. So yeah. I cringe when I hear that. And it's usually from fan, shit. So yeah.
Aaron says, "Oh yes, I do too, Aaron." That's coming out pretty soon, and that's actually an interesting example too, because that I think now it's a Hong Kong movie, so that's you have to budgetary wise, it's you converting from like yuan to dollars. I think I read that
Aaron, I'm going to need
cost
you
about.
To stop.
I think it cost about 20 to 25 million. I think that costs about 25 million, which that's not. I mean, that's not nothing, but I mean, it's it's a lot more than 750,000 they spent on Obsession, but that's still.
Am I gonna have to ban the Furious? Am I in the chat? Am I have to go into YouTube and ban it?
You can ban all you want. It's coming back.
We were going well until you. Well, you're trying to put me to sleep.
Yeah, well then
this is a better one.
This movie's gonna come out and it's gonna blow everybody's minds. You're gonna be eating crow.
Don't care. Yeah. In order to eat crow, I have to give a shit about it. I don't.
No. We can do it. We can do it involuntarily.
No, I don't care about the Furious. Masters of the Universe is successful this year. Yeah, definitely. That's what happened with the toy. Because once Mattel realized, remember, Mattel already had a female demographic built in with Barbie. So girls were they found out that a lot of girls were watching He-Man, and then Tila was their main person to connect with. So they knew a year later, here we go, we got She-Ra. I'm like, you didn't know you had this thing? Hey woman, you didn't know you gave birth to another, what was, but it was ridiculous. Is she in Masters of the Universe? I didn't see her as credit.
Let me look that up.
That'd be a post-credit scene. I mean,
That would be a post credit scene, yeah.
And have Margot Robbie play She-Ra. There you go. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah, I could see that casting. Yeah, I'm not seeing her listed in the.
And have dude, okay. I'm already spent. Greta Gerwig is gonna direct it. Margot Robbie is gonna produce. Yeah, it's already going down, and that's why you're not getting a Barbie.
Well, I'd take that over a Barbie because I'm not a Barbie guy.
Well, Barbie was Pepto Bismol. So,
yeah.
So yeah, I think
Barbie to me was Barbenheimer. So.
By the way, She-Ra was more horror because Hordak was more fucked up than horror.
By the way, this has a lot of Leto is probably the biggest. Well, Leto and Idris Elba, they're like the biggest names in it because this has a lot of like who's the guy playing Nicholas Galis. Yeah, he's a completely fresh face, so it's like so hopefully this is his breakout. Good on him. Yeah, a lot of newcomers. So it's like that 170, 200 million. It's like they got a few stars in it, but they this was not a case where like the bulk of their budget went to their casting.
Plus with He-Man, there's a lot of shit that you could sell with an extra.
Well, that's again, I mean, kind of like as this is a point I was segueing into before I was so rudely interrupted on the Furious.
Let me get my X ready.
But this also relates to kind of what you were saying about like Obsession and Backrooms and kind of like the indies and the lower budget stuff, which is like the other angle of it too is like those don't cost as much because they don't the story they're telling or the environment they take place in that doesn't necessitate like a lot of the elements like the big like your Marvels, your DCs, your Star Wars, like those cost 200 300 million because it's like those involve like powers, those involve other planets, those involve fantasy elements. So that's I'm wondering like, and you probably like would be really ready like to have you just go on a big rant about this if we start seeing commentary about well it's like why can't we get like if that's the lesson, like we start seeing spread after Obsession and Backrooms is like, well, this just means that DC and Marvel, Star Wars, Star Trek, they need to find not just bring their budgets down, they need to bring it down like Obsession levels, like because Obsession is like $750K, and look how that did.
I would not go. I'm sorry, but certain things. That's what I mean. Everything is different. Everything is appropriate for what's going on. You can't do Star Wars on a major scale. You could probably do some small offshoot stuff, but if you're talking about Star Trek, you're talking about even if.
Oh no, I don't think you could do like for 750,000 for any of those.
Yeah, there's no way in hell you could do a fucking puppet show for that equivalent to it. But no, and that's what I mean. It's great that these other movies were able to do these under the circumstances, but that is not a blueprint for anything but that type of movie. And you still need. I don't want. Listen, you think. Spend what you need to spend on Dune Part 3. Because if it looks like shit, I'm going to be mad.
Well,
the expectations for Dune are much higher than Backrooms.
This is kind of what I was getting at too. When we were talking about like the Supergirl's budget, where it's like whether it's like 100 even or it's 170 wherever that's at. We were kind of talking about that with and some of the kind of pitfalls that the Hamada era DC on film fell into is the idea that okay, we can like just start doing these on the cheap, and it's like yeah, like characters like Shazam, Supergirl, they don't necessitate a budget like that you would give to like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, so you don't need to like and it's financially irresponsible to spend that kind of money, but at the same time also you don't want to go in the opposite direction where it's like you start getting so frugal with it you start sacrificing quality.
Yeah.
So like if they try to do like if you try to do like the Obsession version of Supergirl, it's gonna suck. Sorry, it just is.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. So all right. So this weekend we'll get back to the chat real quick, but I really want to whenever I go to a con, I really want to I really had a lot of fun with you. Even if this was a local one, I didn't get to get away from the desert, but it's not really hellacious right
shit.
now anyway. What?
Oh, sorry, I just realized because I got the He-Man, I got the page of the movie up right now. I didn't realize that Hathor is in this movie. Hathor Julius Bjornsson. He's probably best known for Game of Thrones. But he's one of like the big muscle dudes.
Oh, the mountain.
Yeah. So I did not see until just looking at
that sounds about
he's
about
Goat
right.
Man in this. He is a Goat Man in Masters of the Universe.
All right, so let's get that. There's listen. You come to Vegas and you act like you live here drinking a White Claw. That is Jay, the guy who runs, the guy I was working with, the guy who runs Amazing Comic Con, put on a great show. This is a panel, and I love the way he had the VIP setups. Because if you're a VIP, you got into everything like immediately. You didn't have to wait in you still have to wait in line, but you didn't have to wait in like hellacious long lines. And then you got good seating. I'm in the front row, seeing this. And like the fact when they brought in those beers, I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, this guy's just like he's in his everywhere Scott Snyder's at. It's like he's in his own living room and you're invited. This is Clayman. He does one of my favorite series. This is Batman Catwoman. It's the Black Label one. But he also does a lot of absolute DC stuff too. So that's him signing my stuff. This is me being a fanboy. And there's his signature right there. I love covers when they have the solid backgrounds like this, and they just have one or two main characters in the forefront. And this was the perfect one to get signed by him. This is Stephen Grant. Stephen Grant wrote the Punisher miniseries. The reason why we were able to get such lengthy runs is because when Marvel tested out Punisher as a solo character, because for the previous 12 years, he had just been a guest appearance in between Spider-Man, Captain America, and Daredevil. But it was Mike Zeck and Stephen Grant. Mike Zeck was at the top of his career with Secret Wars at the time. They put out the 5-issue miniseries. It was always supposed to be a five issue, but the very first issue said 4, which they never fixed. But this is a guy who wrote probably what I think is one of the most, besides Frank Miller, actually more so than Frank Miller, because this was the first time Punisher was on a singles title, and this led to everything this led to the further development of the Punisher character. Frank Miller did a lot when he linked him up with Daredevil, but Stephen Grant and Mike Zeck brought him into that. Okay, we now know this guy is marketable as a solo, and the rest is history. So yeah, that's him. Just him being a fanboy again, getting another autograph, and then that's him posing. Pretty cool dude. And he had his own panel as well. Some of these panels are pretty good. This is just a really quick look around the convention center. I did this for Comic-Con, but I was kind of rushed because I was on my way to another panel. But I just wanted to give you guys and the people who aren't going to see the setup that the New Orleans, that they set up here. They'd previously done this in the Las Vegas Convention Center, which, by the way, is one of the largest convention centers in the world. I believe it's the Death Star. But this is a ballroom situation more, but it's a convention area. But this worked out just fine, to be honest with you. They had it set up. Right now, I'm in Artist Alley, which is the one you see this first movie. It's Artist Alley, so just wanted to get around. There was a lot of people with a lot of stuff to sell. And this is one of the few conventions. Now, if you notice, when you go to a lot of these conventions, there's a lot of people that they're just sitting there. There's nothing going on. People just passing up their booth. This wasn't the case. As you can clearly see, every booth that I was able to go by here, somebody's at there either interested or buying something. So I thought that was good. I'm glad all the vendors. Next year, I'm going to be one of these guys. I'm going to be a vendor here. This year's move situation was just kind of shitty. I didn't know what was going to be going on. So I couldn't put my roots down and really make a commitment, but next year I will be doing it. And this is that was the retail bit. This is Artist Alley. I got mixed up. So the previous one, these are Artist Alleys, and even some of the small time artists that aren't as known as like Mark Spears or people like that. They still had people come to their table. They still had sketches. This crowd you're seeing is a really good crowd. This is a really good crowd. And this I walked right from Artist Alley or the retail area over to Artist Alley, and you just couldn't run through. There was people at everybody's table. There was people either interested or buying stuff. There was cosplaying going on, as you can see right there. That's the Las Vegas Avengers. They're a charity organization, and that's where a lot of the cosplay was going on there. And they had the cosplay contest afterward, which was pretty cool. What else did I do here? This was already sold. This was a one I was going to get signed by Snyder, but I decided to sell it without the signature to a customer before the convention even happened. And that's this is the little coupon we gave you. So if if you came by the convention and we gave you a little pamphlet and you got a free comic up till midnight. And there's a panel. There's Jay and there's Scott. Pretty fun. That's my ad. That's me and Scott Snyder getting my Court of Owls issue signed and my Dan Quintana issue. This is a period. This is the first issue. I love this cover. I bought 2 of these, one for the store, one for myself. This when I first saw this cover, I wasn't a big fan of New 52 at all. If you watch the show for any length of time, you know I thought that the New 52 was a slow moving disaster. It had some good things to it, but overall I thought it was just not good. This was one of those good things, though. I love that cover. This is the first full appearance of Court of Owls. I've always wanted to have one of these for myself. They came to the store, and I would always sell them. But this time, I was committed to get one for myself and to get him to sign it, especially since Court of Owls is in. It's a big thing. It might be, I'm thinking it's going to be the primary villain in the Batman. It's just a guess. Plus, we have Absolute Court of Owls, so it's getting bigger. And now he created Court of Owls, and it's I think it's the first thing that he created on its own that he brought over into the Absolute universe. So I was happy to get that done. That was me. Just they had a little wall. Took a quick picture there. This is just to let people know. By the way, if you were at the convention, if you were there and you tagged me, I gave you tickets to go see Disclosure Day. So there was a lot of people that were tagging me. This is Todd. He's my primary supplier here in Vegas. He had his booth set up there. This is another girl I buy comics. A lot of the dealers and people, even if they didn't have brick and mortar stores, this was their time to shine and show stuff. So this is Shimpson Comics. I get stuff from them too. There's about a good 10 or 15 people I get stuff from, and they were all here. So it was good to see them all in one place. That's my badge. That was Dan Quintana. Somebody offered me money for that badge because the guy who did that badge is a big artist that was there at the convention, and he had a line. And this is a guy who was selling artwork for his GoFundMe that I put on my page. And so that was I think when I just first got there. Hold on. That was me making fun of Cubs fans. That's my popcorn bucket. Star Wars one, but yeah, I got I thought I had my hold on. I'm missing pictures. Was it that one? Hold on. There's one particular one that for Dan Quintana. Dan Quintana he's a huge artist that does a lot of the Absolute ones, but his Absolute covers like sell out because they're usually done online and on through drops and stuff. So let's try to find this for you. That still cracks me up. That's my employee. So let me find it. Oh, by the way, Scott Snyder retweeted that. I tagged him, and he's like, "Yeah, it's fair." So let me get out of this screen. I'll find it here. Some of the stuff that was so let's get that. I wish this had a smoother function on here to do this. Here he goes. So this was the one. I don't really do this often. I don't really buy like the exclusive variants and stuff because they're really expensive. But there was a person who sells a lot of these that wanted his stuff signed by Dan Quintana that got me a Absolute Batman #9 of a foil variant, it was a very rare one, trade print, and I went and got it signed by Dan Quintana and Scott Snyder's. Yeah. Anything Absolute Batman, you can pretty much Scott Snyder can sign it. As a matter of fact, there was people there that were getting things that even he didn't write that were Absolute Universe signed by him, simply because as the creator of the universe, I guess it's all valid. Let me find this real quick. And there's some other stuff I picked up, but it was a fun convention, and I always try to tell people. Get to one of these. Get get to one of these shows, even if it's a small show in your small town. Get to it because you're going to be with the conversation. I was talking to people because some of these lines are long, and we were talking about stuff that would have like ruined friendships on fucking YouTube because we don't know how to act on YouTube. So this is that's his signature. Dan Quintana has a really unique signature, and he does it in acrylic now. He usually paints his signatures, which but in order to do shows and do it quickly, he stopped doing it that way. And that's him in the background. He's wearing a hoodie. I just wanted people to know that, yeah, that was him. So had a lot of fun at this convention. Can't wait till next year. But next up for me is Comic-Con, obviously, and after that, the 60th anniversary of Star Trek, which I'll be at. So that'll be 5 conventions for me this year. I went to WrestleCon. I went to WonderCon. I went to Amazing Comic-Con. San Diego, and then Star Trek. So 5 conventions. That's the most I've ever gone to. What is the reason people hate remakes and can't stand why they just don't like both versions? Well, I don't hate the Donner cut of Superman. I just don't think it's necessary. The one that got released.
Well, I think he's like referring generally. Like I think he's more referring to the OG, like the '78 movie.
Well, what do you mean by remake? Okay, stand by. Okay, both versions of the
Man of Steel is not like a remake.
We've answered that.
It's not like a remake of Superman '78.
No, it's just a different interpretation. Here's the thing: people take it personally. They identify with these characters because of a moment that have a memory that they're attached to, their childhood, and they become possessive about it. And this is the dumbest thing you can do, I think. I think you ruin it for yourselves and others when you do that. When you see someone else taking that IP and doing something with it, you take it as a slight, not you at all, but the people who froth at the mouth take it as a personal affront against them, like somebody's attacking their moment. It's as if they think that their moment is somehow less special now because there's something else doing it, which is the dumbest. I understand it, but it's really stupid. And you have to understand that that moment is yours forever. How you felt when you saw Superman, whatever Superman you saw, and you got that warm, fuzzy special, that is yours. They can make 1,000 of those, and it's not going to take that away from you. The Crow movie was fucking awful. But do you think in any way, shape, or form that touches the Brandon Lever? No. Red Dawn, the new Red Dawn sucks backwards. But that doesn't take away from Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, Timothy Hunt, and all those guys. No. But I think what happens is it's like that was special to me, and now you're redoing it, and it's not mine anymore. It's a mental fix. It's not anything based out of logic or common sense. It's based out of pure emotion and pure emotional connection. And I wish people would slow down. I wish people would slow down and say it out. Say what you're actually doing out loud. If something like this can shake your moment, then it didn't happen. They can remake any fucking movie they want, as far as I'm concerned. Listen, I think the Friday the 13th remake sucks. Has no bearing on the movies of Friday the 13th I enjoyed. You know how I feel about most of the Halloween stuff. I think it's garbage. But that's not going to take away from 1978 and Halloween 2, 1981. Those movies are always going to be, nothing can take away. But people, when they do the remakes, and it gets worse when it comes to superheroes. When it comes to superheroes, because people connect with them on a different level, they don't fucking belong to you. They belong to everybody who sees and perceives them. What does belong to you is how you felt when you experienced them. That is all that belongs to you. Superman belongs to everybody. Your version and your moment with your dad, your mom, your brother, your buddies, when you saw it and hearing that thing, that belongs to you. But the interpretation of that character does not. And I think that's something people just never really grasp. But that's the best answer I can give you, Chappie. But I think it's the truest one. It's the most accurate one. Yeah, I really am starting to believe that the Court of Owls is going to be in there. It's the most logical fit for that universe that he's building, and the corruption that goes back centuries. I mean, he can do it. I have nothing inside, perspective of this guy. I'm just guessing at this point. I'll make sure will and when Absolute Batman be made into DC film. Oh, I'm guessing inside of 3, and I said that last year, and I think we're getting soon. And the more I ask Scott Snyder about that, I think that it's going to go to animation first.
Did he give any indication about there being any like?
He didn't give any indication.
I mean, he's probably got NDAs too, so it's like he can't probably.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, he's probably out of that decision making process because it's just an adaptation.
Well, yeah, but they're going to like he might be out of the decision making process, but he's not going to be knowledgeable of like.
He'll be knowledgeable about it, but he'll probably find out after they've decided that they're going to do it because.
But he'll find out before we do.
Oh fuck yeah! He'll probably announce it. I think that it sounds like if it were up to him, it's not, but if it were up to him, I think Absolute Batman would be in the animation form. In fact, when I was interviewing him, if you realize, before I got a chance to finish the question, he had already said animation because Absolute Batman is so big and monstrous that he says that's
yeah, it's like it's hard to how do you cast somebody like I like canonically what is he's about 6'10".
Yeah,
like the
6'9",
like the absolute version of Bruce Wayne is 6 feet 9 inches. So it's like that. Yeah. If you're gonna try that in live action,
he's the smallest thing on the screen half the time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. So it's like exactly. That's what I've always said. Like when it comes to, there's a lot of things that they've done as far as like their overall reinvention of all the characters out in DC with Batman specifically. That's the thing that always jumped out about to me. It was like you can just summarize like the mandate of Absolute Batman in 3 words, which is make everything bigger.
Yeah. Now, as far as what I think is going to happen is exactly what happened when I think there's going to be. I don't think you're going to see an absolute anything on the screen like said that way, but it's going to be like the MCU where like the Ultimate Universe was basically the grounds for what happened in MCU. If you look at the Captain America, Ultimate Captain America from the original Ultimates, that's the Captain America Steve Rogers is playing. Nick Fury literally appears exclusively in the Ultimate Universe. There is a white Nick Fury in the regular MCU prior to the merger of the universes. The black Nick Fury is exclusively Ultimate. So I think what you're going to see, like if you see a Wonder Woman, I don't think you're going to see. I think you might see influences from the Absolute Wonder Woman as the basis of the DCU Wonder Woman, without it being absolute. Just because they're just going to look at, they're just going to adapt.
Assuming we get a DCU Wonder Woman too.
Yeah, depending on how things work out. But if you get one, I think that there's a good chance that they could look at what Kelly Thompson's done and say that's our mainstream Wonder Woman, even though there's a difference in the books, just like what Marvel did, and it was effective there. So I think it's sooner than later or more Mega Sniper. But yeah, somebody's looking at that.
But so again, like if you ask Scott Snyder about this, like he'd have to tiptoe around this. He couldn't say like, oh yeah, it's green light. You're the first to know. Like you can't just announce something like that.
He could just give a vague answer that things like that are being talked about in development. That'd probably be the safest thing.
Well, that's something that I think everybody. I mean, just the way we talk about it on here, it's something everybody's like kind of like. I think it goes without saying, conversations.
Well, if the company's being ran right, and
that amounts to development.
I'm not 100% sure how the company is going to be ran or how it's going to be ran by the time this conversation comes up to make it real. You would think this is why I think that DC should be, when you're talking about DC, sometimes people only care about the movies. The movies are not all of DC. The movies are part of DC. And when you're tracking, you should be having these weekly meetings, and I hope they are, with these people sitting around the table. Jim Lee sitting there with Scott Snyder, and then the movie people and the TV people are sitting there. Casey Boys, they're all sitting there, at a fusion meeting saying, how can we turn this money into that money? So I hope that's what's going on. So yeah, okay, so yeah, I'm glad. I can now watch the NBA Finals. Listen, what happened? The NBA is following Twitter. The NBA is on Facebook. The NBA goes on their social media, and they saw the hell that they got for what OKC was getting away with for like 2 years now. And you saw clearly in the last 2 games, including Game 7 at OKC, that the shit that they were doing was not working. And then you had that 7'4" alien doing things that doesn't look real. It almost looks cartoonish. He's 7'4", and his gape is to the point where he looks like he's one of those claymation creatures from Clash of the Titans, just striding across the court to the basket. and it's just he's a fucking freak, and he shoots threes, and he can track your point guard. Your point guard could be coming from the perimeter. Wembanyama is his legs are so long that he can track your little ass point guard. Most centers get into foul trouble doing that. They call that a mismatch. They don't like that. Wemby could track you and block your shot from 22 feet, closing into 12 feet. And when you have a guy that can do that, that's just fucking scary. Now, the only thing about Wemby is he's 7'4". He's built like a telephone pole. And every guy that I've seen with that type of build has had a short career. I'm not wishing a short career on him, but look at Yao Ming, look at Sean Bradley. Your body and gravity on when you're that build, your knees and your ankles start going. And then you can see it now. He's had injuries, and they manage his time. They manage him. So enjoy this guy while you got him, because he's an alien from somewhere else, dude. Sonic fans were right, though. What were they right about?
Probably about the initial design and the backlash that got, and then that got redesigned. And I mean, yeah, I would say fans are right on it, because the design was definitely an upgrade. And we're 3 movies in now, fourth one in the works, and they've been making money from it.
Name another situation where that happens.
What are you talking to me or Omega Swiper?
No, period. Both of you.
Well, what's that got to do with anything?
Most of the times, people know what the fuck they're doing. They don't need to hear from the peanut gallery.
Oh, really?
You had a situation where if they thought that their design was sound, then it wouldn't have changed. They obviously doubted their design to begin with, because like you could probably count on 1 or 2 fingers how many times that actually happened.
So, but the people doing the design are usually right, correct?
If you I'm going to dump you if you bring up the movie that never got made. All right, so we're going to ban this bullshit. And the reason why that doesn't count is Sonic made it into the fucking theaters. This is a joke.
The suit got made.
But of movies that actually made from production all the way up to the movie getting into the theaters, how many times do the designers change things based on that type of backlash? I got one finger up. Omega, let me know when you found another one.
The suit got made.
I'm ignoring you. I'm talking to Omega. He bought an example of a movie that was actually made. That for every one time that will happen.
Oh well, this kind of counts too. The original Steppenwolf design was very well. That's also
that never got once. Yeah, that's a very complex.
Well, also because that
went back.
Well, it's also because it's like it was going to be. It got that design, the redesign. Steppenwolf's grandfather, as I call him, that got designed. That was before Whedon came on board. So it's like that was under Zach when it was before they did what they did with the reshoots.
But
and
that
then
had
when
nothing to do with
and then when he got his but that's kind of packaged into it too, because then when he got to do his cut of the movie, then he went back and said, okay, we're putting my original design of Steppenwolf into the movie, which I'd say that was definitely
different.
An upgrade.
Well, a that never got released in the theaters. 2,
that OG Steppenwolf was in the.
No, I'm talking about the change between the costume had nothing to do with fans. It had zero to do with fans. It had everything to do with Zach getting an opportunity to put out the vision that he was on HBO Max. It wasn't like there was a fan black that like we saw a picture of Steppenwolf before 2017 happened and be like, "Oh, you fucking changed that," and then they changed it. No, they did. Most of the time the studios either believe in what they're doing, rightly or wrongly, or they're generally good enough. I have out of something that was previewed like that met that kind of backlash, and that doesn't happen mostly. That's happened. I can only remember one time where that legitimately happened. So that's not a trend. Now if it happened every time, like He-Man, we saw He-Man's costume in the Generation X said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they fucking did that." And then like Mattel or the movie said, "Oh no, we got to change that." It doesn't happen. You have to have some lack of faith in your idea to begin with in order for that to even come close to swaying you. And you guys I will be on the air for maybe another 10, 15 minutes. Type in where that actually happened ever besides that one movie. It generally doesn't happen.
I mean, Well, go ahead and read this comment, then I'll bring up Omega Swipers.
Is that why it always been odd to me that both Black Widow 20 remakes and Total Recall? Well, it wasn't backlash. What Total Recall wasn't backlash. It was just disinterest. Nobody fucking cared. And there are certain elements when you make a remake that with the original movie, you just can't remake. You just can't transfer that atmosphere. Total Recall in Schwarzenegger 1990 was complete Verhoeven bullshit. It was over the top craziness based on him. They crafted that movie based on what his strengths, and then a whole bunch of wild shit that they added onto it. The Philip K. Dick story, we can remember it for you wholesale. And the actual novel and stuff that it came from, that was completely blown up by Verhoeven because that's what he does. So you can't when you did that remake, you weren't back in the 90s. That was your first thing. It wasn't the over the top Arnold Schwarzenegger cheese, which was made that movie. You were lacking. It wasn't a bad movie by any sense of the word. It was not a bad movie at all. It just wasn't. You were still in the atmosphere and then in the gravitational pull. What made that movie notable was Arnold Schwarzenegger's performance in the movie being crafted around him. And there was none of that in this new one. So a lot of people were still of age. You're still talking, you were selling this movie to the same generation who were kids and saw Total Recall. So they just weren't buying it. Black Christmas, that's another one where it's low budgetness. It's like when you remake Chainsaw Massacre. I think they all suck. And they've had some great actors in some of these things. I think all the Chainsaw Massacre stuff, I think they all suck. I think the atmosphere that was built into the Ed Gein adaptation type of situation that was in the mid 70s when the world was just bringing serial killers to light was part of what the movie was. And you can remake a movie, but you can't remake the era. It's like The Crow. The Crow, other than Brandon Lee dying, if you watch, you're not watching The Crow. You're experiencing 1994. That's what's happening in The Crow. Obviously, you can't experience 1994 in 2016, 2017, 2018. You just can't do it. So yeah, that's it. Just wasn't a backlash, Chappie. These, in many cases, were the reason why you even thought about making a remake about these things was the notoriety of the original. But you couldn't bring any of that forward to which times change. So yeah, it's sometimes you just should not do it.
So Omega Swiper said I think the previous kind of
No,
about costs like the whole yellow spandex thing, which that
was a production.
We eventually got that, but that was over like the course of like 20 years.
That didn't happen because fan backlash. They didn't give a fuck about.
They addressed it in the movie. They say it's what you want, yellow spandex. So it's like they were aware of it.
They
were at least anticipating it.
No, they made a production decision not to do that.
Yeah, and they made a narrative decision to tell the fans that were upset about it. It's like,
but you didn't change. You didn't see them changing to yellow spandex because they made their movie. They knew what they were doing. They knew why they had made their decision. Now, you don't have to agree with it. That's a different YouTube conversation that you can have on another channel. But they didn't do like Sonic. They didn't go, oh my God, they think we should be wearing the original. No, they made their fucking movie. They may have known what you thought, but they didn't fucking care. They gave you those suits. They were ready to give you those suits. And when the world was ready, by the way, so yeah, no, I can count on one instance where that happens. And that's Sonic. I have never seen it to where something came out and you saw that something in a full-blown trailer, and then that happened to where like I said, you guys are welcome. We got time. You guys are welcome to bring it up. That generally doesn't happen because people generally,
including those making Superman movies,
or movies that got released. Please stop bringing up that fucking stupid movie that never made it to theaters. We're talking about shit that happened. Not shit that could have happened.
But they knew what they were doing when they were making the suit for that movie.
But see, even the people before fans saw that disaster, the people that were in charge of the movie said this is fucking awful. This guy.
No, they did not. They did not cancel that because of the suit.
No, the whole bunch of stuff. We need to stop bringing this up because it's not relevant to what he's asking.
Yes, this is an example. This is the example I'm going with. Omega Viper.
No, it's not. Hey, Omega. I'm doing my best to answer your question. If you want to ask a different question that has nothing to do, I can't. I can only answer the relevant question. Superman Lives is not fucking relevant to what we're talking about. I know it's hard for some of you guys to stay on topic. You're like cats with lasers, but let's be human tonight and try to focus. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Especially when you're talking about big productions. It doesn't happen. These people have hired people who are experts in their crafts, and you're agreeing with them as somebody in the peanut gallery. That doesn't mean shit. I can't coach the NBA team from my house. But they have hired the people. That's who they rarely change. One that went from where Sonic was, right? That was when people saw the teaser and the trailer, and they were like, "Oh my god," or whatever was a poster. But they saw something that was part of the actual advertisement of the movie. That is what those guys meant to put forward. So, from going from that stage all the way to where they changed it, when has that happened in any other production that was on its way and actually got released in a theater? That they stopped and redesigned that way, unless it was something like that was like, you know, when you see something in a really shitty trailer that they're not done with the production yet, that's different. And the next time you see a full-blown trailer, you see the full thing. Like
here's an example. Other than Superman Lives,
that's an example.
Yeah, would they, as we said, had that movie gone forward, would they have canceled?
It did. The conversation is over.
Would they have canceled it because of the suit?
It
yes
did.
Or no?
It did. If my dick had 12 extra inches, it would be 2 feet. So what could have, would have, don't fucking care. What's do you have a relevant example?
Well, that is a relevant example.
No, you mean you're
another
about to come up with a relevant? I'm thinking a relevant example.
Well, the next relevant example is Cats, which that was got and I'm not saying like was a successful movie, but
all right, guys,
that got got backlash. No,
where's my buzzer? You know, and it's not just a buzzer. Right? I need this. You are going to, with a straight fucking face, bring up cat assholes on my show. Next example. I'm not even putting the finger up.
Are you suggesting the Cats is not going to backlash from the design of the characters? I'm not saying it's a good movie.
No, but they didn't change shit. Did they? They may have airbrushed the butthole.
There is a butthole cut for that movie that we haven't seen.
God. Okay. You see where this is going? You see this doesn't happen.
Here's another one, Ralph. In fact, actually, right at the bottom of this. Ooh, man, you opened a can of worms here, William, because now I got a whole bunch.
No, I didn't open a shit can of worms.
Oh no, I got a whole bunch of features coming up now. They're saying like movies changed due to fan backlash. Here's one on What Culture right now. Sonic is for example.
Sonic. That's your one. I got the buzzer ready because I know.
Where's the button to go to the next one? Okay.
You've been at this for a little bit.
Superman Lives. Yeah, obvious example. This is definitely a I'm not even gonna say it. I'm gonna have you. I want you to guess it. I want you to guess this one because this is an even bigger example than Sonic. I'm not even gonna say it. Just guess it. Just guess it.
No, a scary movie. I don't know. I'm not here to guess.
Yeah, no, I want to hear some guess. I want to hear a guess.
No.
Ninja Turtles 2014. Yes. No. That had like.
That's not the same situation as Sonic, dude.
They had the Martian origin, and they had the people went nuts over the time.
That was done. Sonic was fucking done. Okay, you guys are scraping at the bottom.
That's the next example.
You got 2 X's. You get one more X, and then it's going to be this one.
There's Superman Lives, obviously. This is on What Culture I'm reading it off from.
Those are not the same. You guys are those. That's not the same situation as Sonic.
The Superman Lives, of course. Okay, this is I'm not sure. I'm not as knowledgeable about the background of this one as Hellboy 2019. Did that have any kind of big backlash to the designer?
No, that had backlash because that wasn't Ron Perlman. That's why that had backlash. That wasn't even a bad movie. We watched that movie on here. This is not the same as the Sonic situation where it was a design element from a movie that was done that they went back and changed. We're not talking about
Ralph Fix the Internet.
All right, we're done. All right, let's go to other
let's
questions. You guys had you had one. You had
we
one.
gave 10 there.
No, you guys came up with some. Well, Brad came up with bullshit, but no.
We gave up
No.
with the most relevant examples possible.
No. No, a movie that was on its way to the cinema. So that eliminates Superman Lives. This we're being serious now because my patience.
Would they have canceled that movie because of the suit?
That movie?
Yes or no?
We'll tell you what. If you want to watch the documentary on why that movie went to shit, we can. But we're not going to go into it here because it's already out.
Oh no, it wasn't Campia. It was
No, it was a John Snap. Rest in peace.
Yeah, which that's a great. I recommend. In all seriousness, guys, I recommend that.
Yeah, you need to watch that to understand why this is.
To understand like the cool design of Brainiac we were going to get, and
Jesus, oh my god! But anyway, that's bad. Yeah. Sonic was done. When you saw that version, that was they were not planning on going back and changing shit. That hasn't happened again. That didn't happen since. That hasn't happened. It didn't happen.
That's here's another one. This isn't like this is more. No, here's another one, and this is more kind of like political climate than fan backlash. Was the Red Dawn remake because they changed that the invading nation from China to North Korea, and that.
Well,
that movie was done too.
That's not something. That's not a design element. That's the.
Well, they had to like change like the trappings.
Yeah,
and again, I'm not saying these are all good movies.
No, but Sonic was unique in that it was a visual aesthetic. It was a visual element that people reacted to, and then they reacted.
Yeah, like a suit.
A movie that was released in theaters. When you saw that, I don't even know why am I repeating myself. When you saw that, the movie was in its ad phase. So instead of being stupid, guys, when has a movie as deep into its ad phase, literally about to be released months away, gone and done anything like Sonic did? And it hasn't happened.
I keep pulling up articles that have like 20 examples.
And none of them correlate with what you
Turtles, Hellboy 2019.
Okay. You need to get better at this. This is not.
You can't improve on perfection. What are you talking about?
You need to understand that the situations that you're comparing, you just can't lump all this oddball bullshit. That was a unique. You have to understand what a unique situation is.
That's one of them.
No, that's not.
Fan 4-Stick, The Predator.
Okay, first of all, it's not Fan 4-Stick. Fantastic Four. So, all right. So we're gonna go on to other questions because Brad had no fucking point. Brad had no point. I allowed that to go on, but Brad had no fucking point.
Brad slam dunked on the Superman point.
Brad had no point.
Which proves that you can make prejudicial judgment on a suit.
You got enough rope to hang yourself and by your feet and your neck.
But again, we agree here that
Jar Jar was not minimized as a bad shot.
Most people didn't. Of a upcoming superhero movie.
I'm ignoring you because it's not relevant.
It can be
Jar Jar was not minimized. The movie came out. You got as much Jar Jar in the movie as George Lucas wanted you to have, and that was at the point where you didn't. George Lucas, you just said yes. So there was backlash to Jar Jar after you saw him. But there wasn't like you didn't see him flapping around with different set of ears in 1998 and then they changed it to what you saw. No, you got the Jar Jar that George Lucas didn't design, unfortunately, but not for any.
Trying to sell us something in the.
Oh, it's
somebody on Twitch trying to sell us something.
Okay, yeah.
Omega. I don't know if this probably isn't the best example because that was when Kevin Spacey got in hot water and they. What was that one? I forget which one it was. It was let me look that up real quick because the name escapes me, but I know what he's talking about. Really?
Yeah, you guys are digging. You guys are underneath you're hitting that hard clay.
Guys. Once you bring up Superman Lives, it's like that's like the holy grail at that point. So
no, it's not.
That's where is it?
And it fucks with the credibility of our show because people know that movie never got released.
But you can like see a.
No, that's not the same.
Yeah, but
that's different.
The title.
That motherfucker got arrested. I mean, what did you?
Was it the last?
You're talking about For All the Money in the World when they replaced him with Christopher Plummer. That's not the same. That wasn't fan backlash. Okay, the studio said no.
No, that was like your star is a hot potato. Yeah.
Your star has just been has just been grouped up in some really, really bad
And that
shit.
kind of
studios.
and that happened also in Army of the Dead, where like Zack had started to replace Chris D'Elia with Tate Notaro in it. But again, that's not like fan backlash.
That's
just,
not fan
that's
backlash.
legal issues that one of your stars is
Totally
in that are
different.
insurmountable to your
I'm tempted to read this thing, but then I come across that too, man. Actually, they did correct the cross-eyed Superman.
Oh, I think I know he's talking about in the
I don't-
trailer where he does like the donut roll, and then it's like the close-up of his face, and there's like I guess the VFX weren't like
They weren't done. I don't think that was a backlash.
so like he looked like he was cross-eyed when you like saw he's
Yeah,
like this close to it.
Yeah, that I don't think that. I think that was just a post-production thing because a lot of times they release these trailers, and you know how I feel about the Superman trailers. How I just don't agree with how they did those. But that's fine. That wasn't like Sonic was like they were ready to. People were ready with fucking torches and shit. I mean, I'm like, what? I'm not a Sonic guy. I looked at him like, okay, I'm fine. But yeah, that just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Yeah, and I can only think of legitimately of somebody because you're deep in the middle of it. Remember when you saw that Sonic thing? It was really deep. Rose, no, this is different, guys. Okay, and I don't agree with this. I thought this was just where things were going to shit. We're talking about before the movie was released, during its ad campaign, something being changed because of that response. I hate fellow fans sometimes. Their response to her was after the movie got released. That's not the same. You're talking about going forward. That's and I don't even like to bring up. To be honest with you, I felt sick as a Star Wars fan when that whole thing came out. I just really, I just really am disappointed with and then people try to lie and say, "Oh, it's not because of this." You're full of shit. Fuck you. It is, and it's just. I was really disappointed because I always looked at science fiction fans as being the people who had the most open minds when it came to any of these things, whether they were real or not. The optimism of us being a little bit different than the fucking pro-mags that you eventually find out are your fellow fans sometimes. So yeah, but no, that's a different. No, not King. That's no. Jonathan Miller not socked the shit out of a girl and almost had her blame breed and was texting her saying her not to go to the hospital. That's why that motherfucker is gone. That they didn't look at King and be like, now they made a narrative decision afterwards, but that was you didn't see King and be like, oh shit, he looks like fucking Grimace. And then they changed it to make it look like something else. No, you're talking about circumstances that happened and people were like, oh hell no. We're not talking about a design element that people saw. It's not the same. When did Snyder release the cross-eyed? Oh, you're talking about okay, like never. Oh, he's. I'm sad.
Ian Bell, Rev, yeah, well,
He's
probably not.
He's probably depressed watching Euphoria.
Here's rational. Steven Seagal got killed off early in executive decision, even though he's he got because that was when his career was starting to fall apart because
he got fired from the movie
because he was throwing his weight around. He was throwing his and he apparently like on that one, John Leguizamo said he just threw over against the wall and just cold cocked him, and his star power was waning at that point, and it was to the point where they said, okay, we can afford to make this without you, so we're just gonna kill it. And he's really gone downhill. He's like in the year because he had a window. He had a window of like about 5 years at the beginning where he was like he was actually on the come up.
He was not as bad as those movies.
He had some good ones at the beginning, but it's like then he just he drank his own Kool-Aid and fell off.
No, this is not the same as something. It would be different if they had cast a person he went through the movie and he's in the trailers and people say, oh, they casted that guy, and then they went, okay, let's go with Bill Pullman type of situation. No, that's not what happened. That's what happened with Sonic. You just don't see that. I mean, once you start advertising for your movie, most people were not willing to spend the money to make that change. That was a very expensive change for Sonic. That wasn't cheap for them to do because he's in most of the fucking movie. So you had to change that design throughout the entire movie. I don't know if we're ever going to see that again, to be honest with you. And we haven't seen it in the era of comic book movies and people bitching and moaning. Do you actually think Lindelof and all the people working on Lanterns are out there with spray paint cans, spray paint the uniform to give you a different look. No, you're gonna get the fucking Lanterns costume that they always meant for you to see. So yeah, if we aren't doing it in the comic book era, you're probably not going to see that again. That was it. That was it. Let's see. What? Because most filmmakers are the thing about Sonic is the look of Sonic and that's a distinguishing feature about Sonic that was very important. It's literally, besides his spikes, are the biggest part of his features. So when are you going to see that? When are you going to see that again? And when is it going to be to the point where somebody's willing to spend hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, to redo it? Unless they have to. Now, if your star gets locked up after you started your promotion and your star is like fondling women and raping women and doing crazy shit, yeah, maybe you do a Christopher Plummer situation, but it's not. It doesn't happen. I haven't seen Odyssey, so I can't. I'm not as excited about Odyssey as much as people are. I mean, I'm gonna go see it because even though I'm not a Nolan fan, I respect Nolan, and this is a big movie, so I'm gonna go see it. I'm not. My expectations are. I just don't. But if it was a World War II movie, Christopher Nolan, that's let's do it. I'm not feeling Odyssey. Ryan Gosling was replaced during the filming of Lovely Bones during the filming. Once again, not to say it wasn't Ryan Gosling wasn't in the promotion. It wasn't like I saw Ryan Gosling playing Stanley Tucci's character. By the way, he's creepy as fuck. He's excellent in that movie. If that's it, and then they said, you know what, we don't think Ryan Gosling, the audience doesn't like him in this character. Let's get Stanley Tucci. That's what happened with Sonic. So it's a different situation. Yeah, Steven. I hate seeing Steven Seagal's name in my chat at all. I hate the guy.
Joe Norris is, he is better. He is that.
No, that's not a joke, by the way.
It's not a joke.
It's not even close. At their best, if Steven Seagal had a best, and you take Chuck Norris at his take Chuck Norris at 25, 30 years past his prime, doing like 70-year-old talk Texas Ranger. That Chuck Norris was better than Steven Seagal at his prime. That's a wolf.
By the way, Chuck, real quick, just a little added bit of trivia there. Chuck Norris, he didn't actually die. He just killed where we took his job. So it's a little known fact after his supposed death. It's like,
okay, once again, Rational, this is a different thing. This is the aftermath. What you're talking is the aftermath of a released film with everything done and out there. What happened with Sonic was not that. Sonic was a done movie in its production. That movie element was changed. They didn't change anything about the movie that pissed people off when it came to The Last Skywalker or Rise of Skywalker. They just or Last Jedi, however that makes it. They didn't change those movies. They changed their concept going forward, but those movies themselves were not changed. Because to be honest with you, there's a lot of shit about that movie I would have changed for release. There was no core element of the movie that a fan saw in a trailer and said, "Oh my God, we have to change that." That's why Sonic is unique unto itself. I like Lupita. I like she's Academy Award winner, and even Chuck Norris outside his prime. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Chuck Norris at Walker doing stiff karate moves and still being effective as a 70-year-old Texas Ranger. By the way, You take that and you match it up against the entirety of Steven Seagal's career, and I'm sorry, it looks like you have a Lego figure versus the master.
And he again, like once he hit the 2000s, I mean, he had a little around exit wounds. That's when he had he was briefly kind of sprung back to life.
Wasn't that with DMX?
Yeah, that was one with DMX, and then he just he just completely went downhill. And it's interesting because we yes, Van Damme could. Well, he did. Van Damme's like martial arts too, but yeah, he did also do ballet.
He can't act, so it doesn't matter.
But
Chuck Norris can actually act. Claude Van Damme can't.
Well, Norris, by his own admission, was not a great actor.
He was a better actor. You're comparing him to Claude Van Damme. That's a big jump.
But I'm making a point here. So he it relates to one we done a watch party for a year ago was when we did Life After Fighting with remember when we did that with Brent Foster, and he like a few years prior he actually I think he did two. Yeah, he did like execute like Maximum Execution or like something else. He did two movies with Seagal, and I'm sure to Williams' shock and everybody else's shock, he's the best thing about those movies. So, yeah, and I was thinking the way that Seagal kind of fell into a trend like when his career really dipped, where like they would have him.
People
like
realize he couldn't act.
Well, but he fell into this trend too, where it's like, you know, he would be like the main guy on the poster, but then they would like pair him with like a kind of like a sidekick guy, and
somebody desirable.
Well, yeah, it would end up being like, and they did with a bunch of different dudes, and it invariably ended up being it's like the sidekick was like the show stealer. He was the only thing worth watching in it. Meanwhile, Seagal's like spending like half his fight scenes like sitting in a chair, just fighting guys from a chair position, and he just you could see in his in his demeanor, it's like he thinks he's the star doing the heavy lifting. So.
All right, Rogue One wasn't changed in the same. I don't know what was changed about Rogue One, but it wasn't changed as a response to a trailer being seen before the movie came out. You know, just like I said, you guys, I understand where you guys are coming from, but that is not. None of these are the same because Sonic was about to be released. They weren't releasing that trailer as a tester. They were releasing that trailer because they were about to release the movie. They went back and changed the movie, the aesthetic, not the movie, but how that looked. After the movie was done, after the movie was locked, when that generally doesn't happen, and about to hit theaters, that has not happened in any of the things that anybody's bringing up because it's not going to happen again. Because A, it's super expensive, and B, you just don't have that decision making process for better or for worse doesn't change very much when you get that deep into a movie, unless somebody gets arrested, but that's not a fan response. Bruce Willis and Planet Terror was on the poster, but on him, yeah. That's not a fan. That has nothing to do with a fan reaction, though. You see what I mean? You know, that's just they advertised a guy that's a big star, and I don't think they should do that. I don't think if somebody's in the trailer like that and you only give me 2 minutes of them, that's kind of fucked up. But that's different, though, Rational. I understand what you're saying, but it's a little bit different. Eric Stoltz was Marty McFly back in the future and was on some promotional stuff, but he was replaced. That was before something else happened because this is a very famous story. It had nothing to do with fans a backlash against Eric Stoltz. Why they talk about that? Eric Stoltz talks about that because that was obviously in the Flash. That was hilarious, but. Something happened. What happened with Eric Stoltz that he?
No, it was they wanted Michael J. Fox initially, and then he couldn't because he was on Family Ties, and then they started out making the movie with Eric.
That's
Stoltz.
That's right.
And then it wasn't even like a backlash. It was just that like they got like a quarter of the way into it, and Robert Zemeckis just decided he took Eric Stoltz decides that look, this just ain't working out. We're gonna have to part ways. And
fans never saw Eric Stoltz,
and then they brought they brought Michael J. Fox on board, and he for a couple of months there because they had to coordinate that around his schedule with Family Ties. So he was
and they renegotiated because he was on his second contract for Family Ties, and he renegotiated. Unlike Remington Steele, he renegotiated that.
I hope he did, and I hope he got a good payday out of that because he was basically working 7-day weeks, like 18 hours a day for like.
What had happened back in the 80s, guys? If most of you guys, when a TV show. Even a TV show that shared rights with movie stuff like that, because it was the network. When the TV show had you under contract, back then TV was as lucrative to guys as movies were. That's why Tom Selleck, who was supposed to be Indiana Jones, he couldn't get out of Magnum PI because Magnum PI was huge and they were paying him a lot of money. Same thing with Remington Steele. The reason why they rolled out those fossils for James Bond for those last couple of movies is because Remington Steele, Pierce Brosnan could not get out of those contracts. Back then, if you were a star on a show on a major network, those contracts were ironclad. What ended up happening, though, is with Michael J. Fox, he got out of his one contract expired when they all renegotiated. He negotiated that back into his contract, so he could do those movies and still do Family Ties. I remember that now. But that had nothing to do with family because nobody ever saw Eric Stoltz. It wasn't like they showed you Eric Stoltz, driving the DeLorean, and then people were like, oh, that guy. No, we never saw him. So. Okay. And he has a good one? You guys are under the premises. This motherfucker has good movies. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm glad you enjoyed them.
he had like the Glimmer Man. I thought was pretty good. Marked for Death is pretty good. What was that other one?
Not because of him. He's horrible in those.
He's good in Mark for. It's like listen, he had like a window when he just started out.
Move. Let's do the same move. Let maybe break your elbow.
He
How many fucking
snaps
elbows
80
did he break in those movies?
At least 800.
It's the same, dude. If you do a drinking game of him using that same move, you get alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, it was awesome because it was something we hadn't seen at the time. But again, like he just stopped putting effort into it, and like he gained 87 pounds, and like
he was never putting any effort into it. But that's fine.
He was putting effort in.
Best day, yeah, on his worst day was better than.
He put effort in at the beginning, and then he bought into his own. He believed his own hype, bought it, and it's like he started. He got the worst of like the movie star ego took over his mind, and
Plus, when you can have all that if you can perform, he couldn't. Van Damme was he's a MILF magnet of that era. That's
he do he found a way to do splits and everything too. I mean they structured his movies around like, okay, where can we like work the split and everything, and and Johnny Cage is based on him. That's why you have the split punch in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, but that's not why Lord and Miller were fired from that. You're talking about a disaster of a production to begin with, so that's not. And nobody saw something. If there was backlash against Solo, it was bad that it was being made. But nobody saw like the Millennium Falcon and said, "Oh no, we can't have that," and then they went back and changed it. So that's not the same, guys. I know some of this stuff is probably older because Brad jammed up the conversation with that Superman bullshit.
I didn't. Brad jammed up nothing. Will Sasso, yeah, it is. Well, Seagal, he's kind of his own parody at this point too.
Yeah, Will Sasso almost got his ass kicked a couple of different times. This was by Bret Hart went after him. Listen, guys, Matt TV, you think SNL? You think SNL is like, kind of on the cutting edge? Matt TV seriously didn't give a fuck.
Oh,
they did not give a fuck who they offended.
Nothing. My favorite sketch. This is before like Key and Peele started. It was Keegan-Michael Key when he was playing Coach Hines. Remember Coach Hines?
Yeah,
that was my favorite sketch on Mad TV.
All right, so guys, you want to talk about?
Yeah, but actually, I'm gonna set you on fire.
You want to talk about a group of people who just didn't care about?
They didn't care.
Who came after them. Go on YouTube, type in Mad TV, and type in Curious George. And after that, type in Raging Rudolph, the original one, because it got kind of silly. There were people that were watching that, and I don't know why you thought this was the same thing because it was on at 11 o'clock at night. But I guess like during Christmas time, kids are up, they're watching. We're watching the stuff. Mad TV does this thing, and I could tell that it was different because it was different enough. But for the most part, Raging Rudolph looked enough like the original Rudolph with Roy Burrow eyes and all that, like the original shit you saw when you were a kid. It looked close enough to where it confused people, and it's vulgar. And they got hollered at by the networks about that. The Curious George one, where Curious George is in a lab and they're experimenting on them, and what Curious George does to the man in the yellow hat is quite offensive. And they got flack over that. They got flack over the stars that they made it. People wouldn't come on, and they didn't. And it was on Fox, and Fox was like, "We want people to be, to work with our network, and you guys are fucking with us." So. But yeah, the Mad TV and Will Sasso was a big part of that shit, dude. They did not care. And like I said, Saturday Night Live gets to some people don't care. Chappelle's probably the closest to like not caring because he'll say whatever the fuck he wants, and you're either gonna say yes or no to him, and then you're gonna kiss the ratings we bought you. Comedy Central, he said stuff on Comedy Central that would have gotten everyone fired. Dave Chappelle is the only person that could say the shit he did on that show and not get fired and not even get a call. The stuff he did, especially when you realize it's a white-dominated industry when it comes to the big networks and comedies. Dave, listen, if he thought he saw something that he needed, Clayton Wigsby, that gets everyone fired. All right? The stuff he did with the Klansmen, and that gets everybody fired. And he's the only one that could go on Saturday Night Live. Only one. That includes Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, that can drop the N-bomb on live television. It doesn't get censored. It doesn't get blanked out. He said it, And yep, hey, Dave Chappelle. That was what Mad TV was. And boy, when
Oh.
they didn't care, they did not fucking
Our
care.
Chappie says Steven Seagal once hosted. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, there's a reason why he only did it once. In fact, he's infamous for it's like, I mean, I think they like held like a vote or something where they asked like who's the worst SNL host, and it just, I mean, Seagal just cleaned up. I mean, he wasn't even a contest like who was the worst host.
Oh, and Living Color. Living Color was another one. Living Color was safe though. They came up to the line. They never crossed the line. Mad TV jumped over the line, walked on the line, farted, shitted on the line. They didn't care. And they figured, and that was that group of comedians that's how they made their money. That's how they were like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. I mean, I can't believe you tuned in next week to see if any of these people had jobs. And they lasted like 3 or 4 years. Mad TV lasted. Mad TV. How did it? Was it 4 or 6 seasons?
No, it lasted 15 seasons.
The Mad TV I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That lasted 15 seasons?
Yeah.
That show. I'm talking about the show that aired on Saturday night, and they had it airing opposite of SNL.
Yeah.
What network did that air on? Because I know it was on Fox for the.
Yeah, it was on Fox.
Because was it on Fox that entire time?
Yeah, according to this, yeah.
I think we're talking about 2 different generations of that show then. Because although you know what, they may have moved it because when I watched it was on.
Ran from 95 to 2009. When I was like,
channel did it all on Fox? What time? What was the time slot?
Let's see if I can see that here.
Because I think that's where I might be getting confused. Because I know they took them off that time slot.
Let's see, oh no, it's saying like the time of broadcast.
Yeah, because I think it was only on for a few years in that time slot. Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor were doing stuff that was avant-garde for their era. Richard Pryor was heavily.
God, he pushed buttons.
he wouldn't be able to do some of the stuff. Neither would Eddie Murphy though. A lot of that is because in the 80s, yeah, we had race relations and stuff, but it wasn't like it is today.
It was kind of like we'd had the civil rights movement, but everybody we had the civil rights movement, everybody kind of still felt free to be racist to each other.
The difference is we weren't laughing at each other in the civil rights era, but in the 80s, it was okay to laugh at the stuff. White people were laughing at white people, black people were laughing at black people, but we were laughing at each other. When Richard Pryor was making fun of making fun of white people, and they were in the lie, cackling, because it was fun. We could take a joke. Something about the 80s where we could just take a joke. In the late 70s, Archie Bunker would never happen now. They would be burning down the studios now. People just got sensitive, you know.
Yeah, Chris Rock. I think Chris Rock was kind of like on the cusp of that.
Thank you for the $2 super chat. But yeah, different time, National, different time.
I think Chris Rock was kind of on the cusp because he like early in his career was definitely really.
That's right. It wasn't. It went to comedy because there was no comedy channel per se during that original run. It wasn't as big yet. So. Nobody takes a joke.
Like I said, Chris Rock, he was doing that. He was making fun of white people. I was laughing my ass off.
He was making fun of black people. He had one, and dude,
he had one
with the pain. This is what you're about to say. I know you. There is a 1996. There's a HBO comedy special called Chris Rock Rolling with the Pain. I hurt my side. I curled up in a ball on the living room floor. Some of the stuff he said was so funny. And it was so true. And he was talking about OJ. He's like, I wouldn't kill the bitch, but I understand. And then he goes into this one. I'm not going to go into it here because it's looking back on it. He stopped doing that routine because other people took it and made it and weaponized it. Yeah. He's like, there's a civil war going on between black people and blank.
Yeah.
That's blank has got to go. Yeah. With some of the shit he said.
Yeah, which is like, and there's, I think you guys can infer what blank is.
And I'm sorry, at the time he was 100%. I was.
Well, because he opens that routine with saying like, who's more racist, black people or white people? Black people. You know why? Because we hate black people too. And then he lists off like the examples and
it was funny, and a lot of people got pissed off. He's like, "Come on, man, you being too hard." And he stopped using it because later on in his career, racists tried to use it. So it was rolling with the pain. Go Google it.
Yeah, well, like literally, you were rolling with the pain.
Yeah, I was literally curled up in a ball, and it took me a while to be able to stand up again. Yeah, Soul Man wouldn't happen today. So because and the reason the difference between Soul Man and Tropic Thunder is with Tropic Thunder it was the gag, it was the gimmick, it was part of the story.
That every
Soul
couple
Man
years.
was about a guy trying to turn black so he can get advantages.
And that like, Tropic Thunder every couple of years that gets like brought up as like retroactively for like it's like the whole blackface thing.
There is no white person that I have ever met that is going to turn himself into a black man for some advantages. Like Chris Rock once said, there wasn't a white person sitting in front of him in that audience that would change places with him, and he's rich. So Soul Man, for very many reasons, wouldn't work today. It was bullshit then. Again, late 80s. Wait, shit.
Yeah, like Aaron said, like I said a minute ago, or like Seagal's like were yeah. There's a reason why he was only the host one time.
All right, guys. That's where we're gonna wrap it up. Oh wow, we went 2 hours on the second show, so it's 59 minutes. All right, gonna get back to the normal scheduling. I keep saying that, but I'm just busy with shit. So we will get together on Tuesday and do
for like 2 episodes, or because I'm liking that show. It's like I think it's just like this is a real cool offshoot of Spider-Man, and again was Spider-Man Noir. We've seen that in other formats before, but I'm liking where they're going with this.
All right, and thank you for Larry. Larry, we'll get together. I don't know if you're still here. Oh, Larry is still here. Yes, I was asking if Larry if you're still here. William, don't Andy. I had a rough day, and you might have ESP because you called it earlier. Crohn's fundraiser next phase. Okay, so is that the show you want to do? If so, that's we can just name when is when you want to do it. So that's perfect.
And actually, rational. Kind of maybe a good question to end on. We were just talking about who's more controversial: Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Cat Williams, Dave
Chappelle.
Well, like and Bill Cosby, I think you almost have to take him out of that lineup because it's like
before you knew any of that, though, he was controversial, but not on the scale of any of the people of his era because he was still safe. Dave Chappelle has not changed. He has fuck you money now. He has enough money in pull, and I don't agree with everything that Dave Chappelle has said. I don't agree with all of his stands on things. He has some very controversial stands, but the fact that he's able to voice them, and what are you gonna do? Cancel him? He doesn't care. He has basically told you, you can't cancel me. I'm rich. I got more money. I could burn all my money. I would still have more money. He knows that. He said that. So he has put the people who put on his shows in a position like, you either take me as I am or don't take me. Either way, I'm rich, bitch. That's his exact words. I'm rich, bitch. That's what he says. None of these guys. Richard Pryor was controversial because of the time and the content he was saying. And a lot of it was about his own life and his own drug use. Chris Rock, but not to the cultural point. Like when the day Donald Trump was elected, Dave Chappelle was on the Saturday night the next time. He's like, you know what? I thought we might want to have a president. Thought we might have, you guys elected the internet troll, but you know what happened? The white never let me down. No, none of those other guys could say that. He's basically telling the audience that the only reason you elected this internet troll is because he was white. Cancel proof. Maggot. Donald Trump didn't. When's the last time Donald Trump came after Dave Chappelle? When is that ever going to fucking happen to the point where it's going to matter? Dave Chappelle is waiting to count that money.
Well, certainly not now. It's like,
at no point. He's been making fun of Donald Trump for 10 years. Trump don't come after Dave Chappelle. Nobody comes after Dave Chappelle. If Dave Chappelle had been hosting the Late Show, he'd be canceled because all that. But do you think anybody's going to tell Dave, we're going to cancel you because we think you're too liberal? So what? So what? Somebody else is going to hire Dave Chappelle, and they're going to say, you know what?
He may literally like run off and like say, okay, I'm just leaving on.
He left. The Comedy Central begged him.
Oh yeah,
they begged him not to go to do that, and he did. Now he's talking about getting on doing another show. I'm like, he's the guy who has insulated himself, and when you insulated yourself like Dave Chappelle has, you're going to be more controversial because what's the consequences? What's the consequences? So yeah. All right. So let's see. Donation alert. Okay. Did you hit me up again? What did you donate to? Did you donate to the?
I think it was the one he
No.
donated a minute ago.
Okay. All right. So damn. Hold on. No, that was at 10:42. Let me.
Oh, okay. No, so I thought you meant like
Well,
super chat with donation.
hold on. Did you? Hold on. Let's see if he. Do I have Tiltify still up?
He said, I did it twice.
Oh wow.
Okay, I'm guessing this is good news.
There you go.
There you go, guys.
There you go. Oh, we have reached
Our goal. We surpassed our goal.
a goal that 2.5 years ago we didn't think was we weren't thinking about this goal. We were thinking $5,000, and I think we raised it from that. And then from 5,000, we went, let's do 10. Let's do 15.
He wants us to read the
Now-
comment.
Let me go to a.
Were you Superman over there, Larry? I'm curious. Were you Superman? Like
I'm
you was
almost
impressed?
certain he was. That was 2 weeks. That was 5 days ago. By the way, I just didn't get into it. Hold on. Let's read the comment.
He says it's possible, Brad. Okay. Okay. Again, like we've proven ourselves the anti-step.
We beat the goal by 500. So let me read you. I got to go to a different part of the campaign. So here we are. Donations. Larry Korkowitz, and this is this time. Wow. Hold on. You did. So we're at 21,000. We're at 20,000. We beat that by. We beat our goal by 1,000. It looks like here. So, oops.
The anti-Steppenwolf.
All right, the world is hurt, broken, unexchangeable, but the world's not fixed in the past, only the future. The not yet, the now. The now issue, quote from Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Mhm.
That's a good.
The final monologue from Silas Stone that that Cyber plays on the voice recorder.
That's actually something you could apply now.
Yeah.
You could apply that to if you're without getting too deep. We are in an era where that has to be the case. Wow, I was not expecting that today. We started out we started out at 1,200, and then that was solved because I hadn't looked, and then we were 1,000 away. We are over. We raised 21. I get to pitch the end campaign.
Yes, you are. You are, Larry.
I get to push. This is, like I said, I came in just to have a chat about crazy shit, and we chatted about crazy shit. But yeah, we are there. We did it. All of us did it. Larry, you played a major part, but we have a list of donors that have helped out throughout this entire campaign. I mean, we'll probably it's hard to read them off because a lot of them were fake names, but we'll read them off.
One
anyway.
of them was like, I love scary movies.
Yeah, I mean,
which I guess I have to make good on that now. It's like I mean, you guys said get us to this finish line before it comes out. I'll go see it. Okay, I got to do it now.
With an average goal or average campaign between 2 campaigns of 5,500. So this wasn't just the back end of a campaign. We raised a lot of money. We raised a lot of money. We raised almost in this one campaign alone, we did 5,500. We did it even 5,500 for this campaign. I'm like I said, I'm not speechless. I'm shocked actually. That
Yeah.
was not this was not the outcome of this stream
Yeah,
that I was
yeah.
thinking of. And
Sometimes these things sneak up
to
on you
get
in
there.
a good way.
Yeah, we're there. We're gonna have a celebration stream, and what I mean by
Yeah,
that, and then
nice.
what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get together with the I'm going to get together with the local lady here that handles the campaigns and everything else, and we're going to get together. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to hit in campaign with them on the air. I'm going to see if I can get as many people that have been involved. That includes you, Larry, Clint, everybody who's helped contributed. Want them on the screen when we hit in campaign. Because when you hit in campaign, that sends what you're the 5,500. What that makes up the 21. That sends that to them. That sends that to the organization. That's what it's going to start doing. It's good. So I'm going to send out some invites, and I know most of them are going to reject me, but there are some very important people that listen. I'm going to send an invite to Zack Snyder. I know full well I might get ignored, rejected.
You met him in person, so I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And he.
The reason why I'm going to invite him is because it was his original retweet that got
exactly
us
the
point
really got a big influx of donations for this. So, and of course, it's a cause near and dear to his heart. So,
and none of this money is going to we. I mean, the money for the San Diego thing that's all going to the Center's Fund so that I can actually do the show without looking ghetto. But this is all going to them. This is all going to help. Every bit of this is going to help with counseling. Every bit of this is going to help with teaching and not just the people who are that are trying to prevent it, because the P is prevention, but the prevention element doesn't always work, and you have people that are left behind, and you don't want that situation to escalate. So that's going to go to them. That's going to go to all kinds of stuff. That's going to go to people being at Bone Bay. That's going to go to a lot of things. Even though a lot of these people are volunteers, they are doing this because while they're not doing something else that could be lucrative. So this helps them stay in the game. So this is good. This is one of everybody who donated to this campaign.
Your heroes, your heroes.
And no matter how your year has turned out, or what kind of impression you have of yourself that may be great or not so good, doesn't matter. This is the thing that you've done that is unassailable.
I mean, the man himself says it's like there are people alive because of the work of this fandom that would not have been otherwise.
I mean, this is raw numbers. This is and that's not just the people who donated. There are people who shared the link, who put the link in the hands of people. I have donations from people that are not necessarily watching the show, but when somebody shared the link on Twitter or somebody heard about it, I got a donation when we weren't even on the air. So
Yeah, this is like, I mean, joking aside, I mean, we're having like, halfway through the stream, we're like, we're going back and forth. I'm like, we're talking about the Sonic redesign. I'm just, dropping my one-liners about, the Nick Cage Superman suit, and then we're doing a whole lot of shit that's like we're just having like friendly banter. It's
not relevant. It's not as important as this.
Well, but say that's all friendly banter, but it's like, but then like for the stream to end like this, it's like, oh man, that's you guys. I mean, we can't thank you enough. I mean, that is like so again, we like as William says, like so much of like this, this nerd space, it's like it's so easy to get like caught up in like the how tribal it can get, or how passionate, or how much our emotions could take over on these things, but for something like this to come out of that, it's like, I mean, how do you quantify the good of that? It's just beyond like you said, like we had a goal of like 5Gs initially, and like we got 100.
I thought that was lofty. I thought that was unreachable.
And then when we get like again the big guy himself sharing it, I mean this has gone beyond like. I mean it's not like, and this is not like a competition of like who in like the Snyder fandom like does the most charity work, but it's just. But if you gave $1 to AFSP, I mean it's like you're a hero. But
and our little channel, like I said, my bandwidth isn't the biggest. I mean, I think we know that I am a sub basement level type channel as far as the reach that I have in comparison to some of our other comrades. I didn't think when we first got involved in this that we would be. I don't know anybody who's single-handedly with the campaigns that we've done in a single or two campaigns. I would, I'm not saying that to be competitive, but I don't know anybody with a channel this size that could have the output that we were able to put towards this. So we were able to get the most out of this. So.
That is beyond humbling, guys. That is like, again, you have their lives that have been saved by this money, by these donations, by the work that by what these donations, what that provides, what that facilitates. There are people living who might not be because of this. So that's, never forget that. Never forget that, guys.
Should Matt Stone and Trey Parker coach as officers? That would be different. There's a lot of people that have some problem with us.
They're guys. They don't care about pushing buttons either.
Yeah, they don't care. They've
been doing it for 30 years.
They don't care about it. Every time the president says something about them, there's new South Park coming. So thank you for the super chat.
Yeah,
and by the way, Larry,
go ahead and pull Larry's again.
No, we're gonna Larry. Now that we've reached our goal, homie, the rest of your cash. Come here. Just kidding.
AI will be terrifying. Yeah, and of course, if there is a downside to all of this, is I got to go watch this bullshit and on this weekend.
A scary movie. Well, no, hey, listen, scary movie may not cure cancer, but it definitely it helps do something.
I'll tell you this much: it's like I'm seeing that first. I'm seeing scary movie first, and then I'm seeing Masters of the Universe after, because I'm going to end. It's like I'm a believer in like. The end on the good one, end on the on a strong finish. It's like I'm going to get the bullshit out of the way first, and then go see like the featured attraction, because there's no possible way Masters of the Universe is not a better movie.
Yeah, and by the way, we had some huge donations throughout the last couple of years. I have to look back to see how long we've been doing this. We've had some massive hits during the last couple of years, but we've also had a 5, we've also had a 10, we've also had a 20, we've also had a 50, 100 here, 50 here, 20 here. It all adds up. It all adds up.
Amber Alert.
Wow. Red Jeep, Grand Cherokee, where?
Larry also said, like, for Comic-Con, no more broke beds. Yes, that's definitely
No. All seriousness, I want to be in a place where I can host a really good show too, by the way.
Well, and then not run the risk of like the guy underneath you getting,
and then not even have that, because like I said, I've gone cheap and stayed in the hospital because I don't care. I mean, but this year I actually want my own area where I can set up the ring light. I can set up a good camera. I can set up a green screen, because I want to do a green screen where, you know how I do the runaround of the con. I want to set up the green screen so that I'm standing in front of the green screen, and I don't want to have the webcams that I have now. I want to have those Sony, those nice ones that look like cameras, but that are for internet. I want to get some of that stuff too. I mean,
and we've had you're talking about like when I do the celebration stream. There's a couple of people who've been kind of part of our inner circle that we haven't seen around as much lately. They're still, they're still alive, but it's like I'd love to, if we can, like bring them on for that stream. And I think you guys probably know a couple who I'm talking about. Like Spidey and Ruth specifically.
Fuck Spidey. Ruth I'm okay with. No, I'm just kidding. Spidey's work schedule. He chimes in every now and then. His work schedule is crazy, but yeah, I'll try to make it to where I want to get Meg. I want to get Wonder Meg in. Wonder Meg helps. I want to get Junkie in. I want to get Chris Wong. I know he's retired and he's in another country right now.
He is.
Yeah, I think he's in Japan. I want to get Scott. I want to get Scott because Scott donated to the cause and he ends up winning a prize. Everybody along the way that has helped, because we started in Rebel Moon. I think Rebel Moon is when we got going, right?
Yeah, that would have been like late 23. So this has been like about 2.5 years we've been doing this, and it's just humbling. It's just Wonder Meg, who I'm not going to say she might have had something to do with like a certain filmmaker, tweeting us out.
I'm gonna invite everybody. Like I said, some people will be able to make it, some people will not. But like I said, I am definitely going to send an email or reach out to Zack Snyder's people. I know what's gonna happen, but fuck it. Nothing has happened in my life period. I tell you what, if I don't take risk, I might as well be dead.
Well, and there's, I mean, there have been people who have gotten interviews as that were like they went through like the normal channels. I know of a number of people who went through normal channels, got rejected, and he took it upon himself to like you reach out to them and give you. So it's like, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean, it's like don't write it off.
I in my general life, in YouTube, any walk of life that I'm in, I know that the rejection rate is astronomical. But you guys don't hear about the rejections. That's boring. You only hear, when I do get an interview. It took me a long time to get the 7-8 minutes I got for Scott Snyder. I kept getting it. Obviously, I kept, hey, dude, when you're ready, I send you it just kept doing it. When it came to, by the way, we're going to be interviewing those guys again, the Jagged Edge people for the Pooh, Blood, and Honey Part 3 and Pinocchio. Took me 2 years. 2 years to get those guys. I don't give up. I mean, I had nothing to lose by trying. I don't break it to the stalker level, like, hey, man, I mean, I really think it's enough. I drop an email, hey, man, you know what? You said you were busy like this way. And sometimes say, you know what, dude? I got an extra hour. Let's go.
And you know what? I'd even add this one into the mix as far as like people we'd want to bring on because
I would be dead, by the way, Danny, man, because he fell down a lot.
Yeah, I'd even add, and this is likely to, I think, even likelier than Zach to get a no, but in fact, almost certainly will because he is in the middle of making a movie right now. But he is connected, man. James Gunn. Want to bring him on? I would.
By the way, Lloyd. Thanks for Comic-Con, by the way, Lloyd. Thanks for everything. I mean, I had to have any studio. I don't care how small the studio is. Being supportive is to me, as Lloyd Kaufman and Showman Pictures has been over the last 10 years, is eternal. I do not deserve the kindness that you guys give me. But before this guy got assigned to this DC gig, we were texting you. I had texted you the questions and emailed you the questions I wanted. He's like, go ahead and email him. I'll get it to him. And this is what we were just talking about. We were talking about James Gunn, just normal director guy, Choma guy. We were going to have a Choma conversation. And then I sent that text. He's like, I got it. I'll get it to him. I don't know. James, if you're watching, you guys steal some of my shit. I understand. But if you're watching, did you ever get the text that Lloyd said? Well, because, believe it or not, guys, I'm a YouTube nobody. But there is one guy that has his number in his phone and my number in his phone. Now, I'm on the low end and no chance, no relevancy spectrum, but I'm still in there.
So maybe. Again, I Gunn is making Man of Tomorrow as we speak, so I think probably that would be unless we wait till like December, which of course we don't want to do that for the celebration.
I think if he's down at Comic-Con, my biggest chance to get James Gunn is if I'm at the Choma booth when he comes by to visit his former mentor, his former guy got him in the movies. And the thing about Lloyd, kindest guy in the world, you could be in this circle that I'm standing in with these people. I am like non-existent. Lloyd Kaufman, and this amazes me, will turn over to me, grab me. I'm on film doing this, and introduce me to people that I have no fucking business talking to. And then this is William Powell Sci-Fi Center. And I'm like, they don't know what that is. But he the way he says it is like, it sounds so important. I'm like, I'm shaking hands. I'm like, and some of the people I'm talking to, I'm like, I know who you are, and I know you don't know who I am. There's no reason for you to know who I am. But if and he went to the panel, and they met up at the Toxic Avenger panels because James Gunn had that panel, and I couldn't get. I was doing so many other things. I couldn't. We got invited to that panel because I was supposed to film some of that stuff. But yeah, James Gunn's at Comic-Con. If he comes over and visits his own Choma homie, and I'm there at the booth, I'm like, hey, man. And I'll be like, hey, Lloyd, remember that interview?
Larry's and William, if you're able to get James Gunn, that would be, it would be.
That would be great. That would be great.
Well, you got contacts with Gunn, Larry?
Oh, hey, dude, I would take anything I can get. But it's just the fact I know where I am. I know who I am as far as like the broad scheme of things. There's no reason. When people who see thousands of people a day remember me, and Scott Snyder remembered me when I came up to the booth. He remembered me. He said, "Hey, how did the interview do for you?" I said, "Hey, Scott," and his exact response was, "How's the interview? How's things going for your channel since then?" Now, granted, kind of dorky. You kind of won't forget me if you ever see me, but that's still kind of cool that, somebody of that ilk, took time in his day, by the way, to give me an interview.
I do have mutual friends. I'll admit I'd love to approach him as Proud Snyder, bro. Well, I mean,
I don't think he's adverse to Snyder.
Well, I mean,
I think the fans have really.
I mean, picture together, it's like consummate. It says consummate filmmaker.
I still think something big is going to come from that. I'm not going to put on a foil hat. I'm not Brad. I'm not going to put on a foil sombrero. But everything we've ever gotten from this whole movie has been by patiently waiting for things to fall into place. So,
okay, let me. Well, you think it was going to come from that, like that image?
I think that's going to come from that relationship.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I don't know what the hell happened to that thing.
Okay, because that's what I was wondering. It's like because we've speculated also about Gunn's the longevity of what he's in. So do you think that?
Yeah, that's another thing that kind of shakes that up. I don't know how long this man is going to be in place. And David Ellison said
as you famously said both here and on the Vaga streams, like he wouldn't believe it if he looked at you right now and told you were black.
Yeah, no. David Ellison can literally tell me that I'm sitting in Las Vegas, Nevada right now on this stream, and I would go on YouTube just to make sure that that's the truth. The guy will tell you anything he needs you to do. And Zazoff was the same way. The same shit Zazoff came out here to Vegas and said, we're gonna do theater people. We love you. We're gonna do everything. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Mm-hmm. All he was doing is throwing. Just imagine a guy around a bunch of man-eating tigers that haven't been fed for days, and the only way he can get the fuck out of that room is to throw as much meat and get to the door. That's what that shit was about. So yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I can tell he's chilling just from people he's close with. I bet he knows what's up and is just trying his best to work with pretty stupid. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is overwhelming for him.
Gotcha, Owen. I think it's first we've seen you in the chat. So hello, welcome to Sci-Fi Center.
Hey, dude, were you? I'm seeing your profile picture. Were you the one I was standing in line with, and I signed you up to the channel? If you are, say so. You'll know where I'm talking about. Because there's I met a lot of people at the convention, and every time I do it, I take Google Sci-Fi Center, and my landing page has everything on it. So I've gotten a lot of new viewers.
Did I tell you about that time? It was about a year ago when they did at my theater. They did a re-release of Alien, and it was only me and like one other dude in the theater. But I told him about the channel, and he said he'd give it a look. And so I'd never heard back from him. I don't know if he's been in the chat at all. The guy I could tell also he had a few because he like keeled over in the middle of the movie. But yeah, I've spread the news about that.
He wasn't behind the wheel. That's all I was grateful when they keeled over in places where they. Yeah, gotcha. Were you? How did I met a lot of people, and you resemble a guy I met in I think it was the Scott Snyder line. It probably isn't you, but I met some people and I told them to watch the channel, and I've seen some of them in there. They haven't said anything, but oops.
There's IG. Yeah, IG.
Okay, back up. It kind of disappeared for a while. All right, so it's been a good weekend.
I think Larry knows him.
Yeah, IG, I guess.
Oh, okay, I got you. I guess.
Okay, it must be. All right, guys. I don't know if there's anything more I can accomplish with this show. I accomplished way the fuck more than I ever thought I would.
Yeah, we stayed on like a half hour right when we were signing off, and it was like this happened. So like. Yeah.
So hey, I got Larry. You helped me on both causes. You helped me get closer to our goal.
Yeah, we definitely plan to bring them on.
We'll bring on the whole crew.
I'd love to see Ray on it because she's been kind of quiet on social media. William told me because she's moved to a new place, so she's kind of been kind of quiet on social media. But I was wondering about for a minute, where's Ray been, and then said, okay, that's kind of what she's been up to.
All right, guys, like, subscribe. I'll see you next time on Tuesday when we do episodes 2 and 3 of Spider Noir, and then I will keep you posted on the details of our celebration stream. And Larry, send me the details of both your show that you want to do that you donated to my cause for, and then if you want to set up the Chrome fundraiser on a separate one, you can. Let me know how you want to do it, and when you're available, and I'll let you know when I'm available. Fridays and Saturdays are obviously the best for me, but let me know what works for you. All right, guys, that is going to do it for tonight. Very productive last
Yeah.
2 hours and 43 minutes.
On the right as we're signing off, William Buffers.
I'm getting tired of StreamYard or this cable. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday night while we still have a stream.
Hallelujah.
All right, see you later.